The phone in Lin Huang's hand lit up, displaying the message, "Do you want to continue?" It's with two options, yes or no. A frustrated voice full of exasperation came from him, a gamer who had played for half a year without ever getting an SR card, not even knowing what that card looked like. So unlucky that the system gave him the title Ultimate Noob. Lin Huang, our main character, walked while staring at the phone screen, muttering angrily, "Is this the reward for being a noob?" He paused, rubbed his chin, his eyes gleaming with suspicion. "If I'm unlucky, am I being given a consolation prize or mocked?" Without hesitation, he decisively pressed the yes button. Immediately, the system announced, "Congratulations, player. You have been selected. Your ID is 1234567. The draw will now proceed." After reading the message, Lin Huang was stunned. A wave of anger rose up. He shouted loudly, "Why make people draw now after all this time?" Annoyed, he tapped randomly on the screen, gritting his teeth. "There really is nothing good. I swear I will never play draws again in this life." Hey. Suddenly, the phone screen changed color and mysterious cards appeared one by one, sparkling strangely. Lin Huang's eyes widened, his face showing suspicion, muttering, "What is this? Are they changing the interface to mock me or what?" Suddenly, the space around him darkened as if swallowed by darkness. Lin Huang exclaimed in panic, "What is happening?" Just then, the system on the phone spoke coldly. "Golden Finger has been activated. Currently, the system is randomly selecting a player to traverse into the world." At that moment, the three monster phones slipped from Lin Huang's hands, falling heavily to the ground. The screens shattered. From the wreckage, the voice of the system echoed cold yet mysterious. "Player ID 1234567. We wish you a pleasant journey." Lin Huang opened his eyes in astonishment and realized he was standing in a completely unfamiliar world. He suddenly came to his heart racing as he realized the truth: he had crossed into the game. In this world, he transformed into the character Dao Tian Thuong Tian Huit. Relying on the Golden Finger draw to survive, the system immediately displayed detailed information. Player ID 142857 name. Lin Huang gender. Male age before crossing, 25 years after crossing 18. World Crossed Music Academy. A week passed. Lin Huang trudged through the cramped kitchen, drenched in sweat, tears, and mucus mixing on his haggard face. He silently sighed. "It's been a week since I crossed over, and the Golden Finger hasn't activated at all, and I'm being forced to do menial work. Who would want to cross into this world?" More bitterly, the system didn't even bother to provide a guide for new players. He muttered, "Is there any reason for this?" Suddenly, a new notification appeared on the system, cold as a knife. The crossing fate wheel has been shattered. Lifespan shortened to 10 times that of a normal person. Remaining lifespan 91 days. Lin Huang lowered his head, his face gloomy, trudging down the stairs, silently accepting the harsh reality. "Well then, traveling to this place is still better than nothing. After all, I am a reserve hunter in the academy, graduated at the top of my class, and often score high. It's just a pity that the cycle of fate has been broken and life is lacking." He called out, his voice deep, "Hin Hai, come down for dinner." Not hearing a response, Lin Huang boldly pushed the door open and stepped in. Immediately, a piercing scream came from inside. "Hey, why did you come in without knocking, you pervert?" The one who yelled was Hin Yi, the girl living with him in this world, regarded as family. Before he could gather himself, Lin Huang was hit squarely in the forehead by a flying book. Holding his head in pain, he shouted, "Ah, Hin Hee!" After throwing the book, Hin Hai nearly shouted, "Get out quickly!" She is a lively young girl, her eyes sparkling with anger. In front of them, a lavish dining table had already been set. Hin Hai ate while sulking. "I'm not a kid anymore. Please pay attention to your actions." Lin Huang rubbed the sore spot on his forehead, grimacing as he replied, Okay, don't be angry anymore. Hurry up and eat." Just then, the ring on his hand, the Emperor's Heart Realm, suddenly vibrated. In this world, the Emperor's Heart Realm is a device that connects to the personal information storage system. It is the only link between Lin Huang and that mysterious system. Hin Yi suddenly sensed the tremor from the Emperor's Heart Realm, quickly looking up at Lin Huang with a worried voice. "Is something wrong?" And at that moment, the system issued an urgent announcement. A cold, mechanical voice echoed, "At 4:30 p.m. today, a mind void child was detected at coordinates 70.101 to the southwest 310 km away, suspected of monster invasion. Everyone in the area, please pay attention to safety. Do not go far. Do not go out at night." After hearing this, Hin Yi's face turned pale, her eyes filled with fear as she looked at Lin Huang. 70.101 is where we live, right? Seeing her panic, he hurriedly reassured her, his tone gentle yet firm. Yes, don't worry too much. The news has been announced there will definitely be people catching it soon. Moreover, this place has a defensive shield, it won't be easily breached. Though he said that his heart was in turmoil, the shield is as thin as a rice leaf. This town is tiny with less than 100,000 people. How can it be safe? If a strong monster appears, the shield might be disabled before the hunters arrive. After eating to her fill, Hin-Yi stood up and turned to him with a more relaxed expression. I'm full. Now I'm going to my room to do homework. Lin Huang was glued to the computer screen on the table, responding casually. Okay, just leave the chopsticks, I'll clean up later. Hin-Yi didn't complain, just gently reminded. You should rest early too, don't stay up late. Not paying attention to her words, Lin Huang immersed himself in the information on the screen, thinking about news of a group of platinum hunters hunting monsters nearby. Luckily, this monster is not of a high level, we are temporarily safe. He muttered, killing monsters will get the shattered life essence, just swallow it to prolong life. But with his strength in the Black Iron realm, he probably only dared to look for weak monsters. Tomorrow I will try my luck, I can't just sit here and wait to die. Lost in thought, suddenly a piercing scream from Hin-Yi rang out. Ah! Lin Huang was startled and shouted, Hin-Yi! Hin-Yi panicked and screamed, Help me! Lin Huang hurriedly rushed up to the room, his foot kicked hard against the door, bursting straight inside. As soon as he stepped in, he saw Hin-Yi curled up in the corner, her face pale, trembling voice. Save me. By the window, a hideous monster was sneaking in, its red eyes glaring as it approached, ready to attack her. Without hesitation, Lin Huang quickly grabbed a nearby backpack standing in front of Hin-Yi with a warm but determined voice. Hin-Yi, though appearing calm on the outside, was in turmoil inside. Oh no, this is a bloodsucker. He unexpectedly threw the backpack hard at the monster's face and quickly picked up Hin-Yi, running while shouting, This one is at least a black steel level, a powerful monster, we can't fight it, run fast. Hin-Yi, after hearing this, froze, stammering in fear about the bloodsucker. Lin Huang pushed her into a nearby cupboard, urgently instructing, You hide here, I will lure it outside, it loves to suck the blood of young girls. Hide well, I will find a way to drive it away. Hin-Yi looked at him anxiously, but he didn't let her finish, decisively slamming the cupboard door shut, Hin-Yi's voice echoing out. Lin Huang gritted his teeth, voice full of determination. I will definitely not let it harm you. As soon as he finished speaking, he quietly observed the monster. It growled, rummaging through the room, its claws tearing apart every corner to find the two of them. Suddenly, Lin Huang dashed out from a hidden corner, loudly shouting to attract its attention. Ugly creature! I'm here! The monster immediately became ferocious, its red eyes locking onto him, charging at an alarming speed. One person and one beast chased each other fiercely. Lin Huang was exhausted, sweating profusely, thinking to himself, Why is it so strong? This monster will definitely not let go. It even had a creepy smile. Meanwhile, Hin-Yi, hiding in the cupboard, was in turmoil, tears and snot streaming down her face, silently praying that he would be okay. Back to Lin Huang, he didn't know where he pulled out a gun, aimed straight at the monster, shouting, Ugly creature, take this! As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Huang aimed the gun at the monster and pulled the trigger repeatedly. The beast roared in anger, the sound echoing like thunder, making the space tremble. Its body suddenly erupted in bright red light. Witnessing this scene, Lin Huang broke out in a cold sweat, thinking, Blood energy materialization. Blood energy materialization is a special skill of the bloodsucker species. When activated, it increases strength, changes appearance, and becomes more ferocious. The monster chased after him more aggressively than before, emitting a creepy laugh. Ka-ka-ka. Lin Huang ran while looking back, panicking and thinking, Oh no, it is no longer a black steel level but a bronze level. This time I'm definitely dead. He ran desperately, the monster closely following him without letting up. With no way out, Lin Huang jumped through the window outside. The monster growled immediately, jumping after him, its claws glinting with deadly light. Seeing it had left the house, he felt secretly pleased. He had to lead it away from the house. Suddenly, the beast lunged forward, its sharp claws slashing directly at him. Luckily, Lin Huang dodged and avoided the fatal blow. He was flustered and didn't know what to do when he suddenly realized something unusual. Damn! There's something strange. Although it was blood energy materialized, the power it displayed was only at the level of Black Iron Realm. He observed closely and noticed fresh blood oozing from the wound on the beast's abdomen. He exclaimed, That's right. As he spoke, he continued to fire at it. It was injured. Thoughts flashed in his mind. It had definitely just escaped the encirclement of the outer city hunters. His expression became serious, and he resolved, as long as I buy time, this wound will exhaust it. The beast growled, its sharp claws aimed at him as it charged forward. Despite thinking positively, Lin Huang still worried, but will I survive until then? While he was lost in thought, the beast suddenly swung its claws and knocked him out. Lin Huang fell flat on the ground, pain shooting through him. It took the opportunity to rush in, intending to deliver a finishing blow. Gritting his teeth, he was determined not to yield. Lin Huang aimed his gun straight at the beast, roaring, "I absolutely cannot die like this!" Gathering all his courage, he shouted, "I cannot die like a loser!" Just after he finished speaking, he pulled the trigger, firing rapidly at its body. The beast howled in pain, its body trembling, gradually losing strength to fight back. It collapsed weakly to the ground. Making whimpering sounds, blood gushed from its mouth, but it still struggled to stand up. At this moment, Lin Huang had the upper hand, his voice full of confidence. "Now you are the prey." After saying that, he charged forward and delivered a powerful kick that sent the beast sprawling on the ground. Taking advantage of the moment, he fired the final shot, almost shouting, "Die, beast!" Completely collapsing, it no longer moved. Lin Huang breathed a sigh of relief, sweat pouring down, murmuring, "Phew, finally it's over." Suddenly, a cold voice echoed from the system. "Congratulations, the player has completed the headhunt, activating Golden Finger." Still reeling from the battle, he asked hesitantly, his voice slightly trembling, "This is—" Before he could finish, the system continued to announce, "The player who completes the headhunt receives a monster card. The player who completes the advanced headhunt receives a level-up card. The player who completes the second advanced headhunt receives a draw opportunity." Lin Huang was stunned, his eyes brightening, when he realized this was the headhunt reward. Just then, a strange creature appeared floating in the air, speaking calmly. "That's right, besides the reward card, you also receive attributes." The voice from behind startled him, and as he turned around, he was shocked to exclaim, What the hell is this?" Seeing Lin Huang's shocked demeanor, the floating creature couldn't help but introduce itself. "This is not disrespectful. I am your Golden Finger." The Golden Finger did not pay attention to his bewildered expression, directly getting to the point, speaking hurriedly. "Back to the main topic, besides the level-up card, you also receive an attribute card and a monster card. Look!" In front of Lin Huang, the shimmering cards appeared. When he looked at his card, he couldn't help but exclaim, "This is too tragic." Then switching to the monster card, he widened his eyes in surprise. "No way!" Observing carefully, he turned to ask Golden Finger, "How are the cards categorized here?" It explained leisurely, "White is common, green is rare, blue is epic, purple is legendary, orange is mythic. In other words, the card you have is of the best rank." Hearing this, an idea flashed in Lin Huang's mind. He quickly asked, "Right, there's one more draw, right? According to you, what are the chances of drawing a rare card?" Golden Finger replied cautiously, "That's just based on luck." After hearing this, Lin Huang felt a headache, both crying and complaining. "Then it's over. Then I am known as black as coal. When it comes to bad luck, no one is worse than Lin Huang." Suddenly, Golden Finger was startled. "There's movement. Someone is coming." Lin Huang quickly wiped his tears and looked around. A seductive voice rang out, and a beautiful girl approached, gently asking, "Did you kill this monster?" She introduced herself. "My name is Le Jiang. I received a distress signal saying there was a monster attacking here." Lin Huang nodded, realizing, "Right, it must be my sister who sent the signal. It was this bloodthirsty beast that attacked us." After hearing this, he thought to himself, the Silver Hunter, Le Jiang from the Hunter Association, turns out to be a woman. She confidently stepped forward, stepping on the monster's corpse, and asked sharply, "Let me ask again, did you kill it?" Upon hearing this, Lin Huang smiled brightly, excitedly, replying, "You could say that. It was already injured before I just happened to be lucky enough to kill it." After hearing this, Le Jiang looked a bit skeptical, her brows slightly furrowing. "Lucky, huh?" Doubts arose in her mind. This person hadn't reached the Black Iron Realm, his life was near its end, yet his fate seemed to be extraordinarily strong. She stepped forward, looking straight into his eyes, her voice serious. "Tell me, how did you kill it?" The sudden change in her attitude startled Lin Huang. He thought to himself, "Does she think I don't believe I could kill that monster just by luck?" While he was flustered, unsure of how to respond, he suddenly remembered that Hin Ni was still locked in the cupboard. "That's right, Hin Ni." He quickly turned away, not forgetting to tell Le Jiang, "Wait for me to go home and meet my sister, then we can talk more." Seeing him leave, she shouted, "Wait!" At that moment, Kin Yi was standing in front of the house, tears rolling down her cheeks, sobbing and mumbling, "Hick, so the house is gone and there's still 32 years' worth of rent unpaid." Just then, Lin Huang ran back, calling out Kin Yi. Hearing her brother's familiar voice, she rushed to hug him tightly, crying, "Huh, you scared me to death. Huh, I thought you really died." Seeing his sister like that, Lin Huang felt no annoyance, gently comforting her. "Okay, don't cry. It's all right now." Lijiang stepped forward, witnessing the scene before her, thinking to herself that it didn't matter if this house collapsed or not. She spoke up to reassure, "There's nothing to worry about. My brother has already dealt with that Tam-Tin Copperblood owner by himself." Hin Yi immediately changed her attitude after hearing this, looking at her brother with admiration. "Really? My brother is the top graduate student from the Hunter Academy." Lin Huang, upon hearing this, blushed with embarrassment and awkwardly replied, "Hi, Ni, don't mention it again." But inside, he felt uneasy. What is Lijiang investigating? I've been so caught up in family matters that I almost forgot about this woman. Hin Yi then turned to Lijiang and curiously asked, "Oh, right. Who are you and what are you doing at my house?" Lijiang smiled gently and replied to Hin Yi, "I am the silver hunter named Lijiang. I came here following your distress signal." After saying that, she raised the device in her hand and scanned the entire house. Han Yi could not hide her excitement, shouting, "Lijiang is the genius hunter! Lijiang right! I can't believe I get to meet the real person here." Lin Huang, who was observing intently, suddenly exclaimed, "What is this?" "A golden equipment." Lijiang nodded. "That's right. Even though it's just a reconnaissance equipment, it's very rare and can record images of the surrounding environment and recreate them in 3 dimensions. The Hunters Association will use this data to compensate everyone." Upon hearing this, Hin Yi's eyes lit up like car headlights, excitedly exclaiming, "Life, fragment 1 piece costs tens of thousands. Are you really that rich?" Bastard Lin Huang, upon hearing this, couldn't help but be astonished, thinking, "Wow, common black steel equipment requires life fragments for exchange. So is this golden one a heavenly level?" Seeing the attitudes of the 2 siblings, Lijiang laughed. "Ha ha ha, I can't help but boast. Life fragments are nothing, I have plenty." Hin Yi looked at her, her eyes sparkling with admiration. "You're so amazing." Lijiang snapped her fingers, her voice full of confidence. "Wait, let me broaden your horizons." She took out a dazzling golden stone and continued, "This is a life fragment, 3 years' worth of it, as a token of gratitude for calling me Sister Hin Yi." Receiving it smiling widely, she hurriedly thanked, thank you, big sister. I appreciate it a lot." Lin Huang witnessed this scene, feeling a surge of helplessness, thinking that Hin Yi is not as simple as she seems. Lijiang then turned to him, her tone serious. "The process of you killing that monster was not suspicious, but I noticed that she hesitated." Lin Huang couldn't help but speak up. "What exactly do you want to investigate that you can't just say directly to me?" Lijiang no longer beat around the bush, stating directly, "The Tam-Tin Copper monster is difficult for me to handle alone, let alone the fact that your life is at risk and you haven't reached Black Steel Realm. Do you perhaps have golden equipment or higher? If so, I am willing to buy it at a high price." Lin Huang scratched his head awkwardly, replying, "You see what my situation is like, right? That golden equipment you just mentioned is the first time I've seen it." He thought to himself, "It seems that golden equipment is truly rare, and money may not be able to buy it." Seeing his honest attitude, Lijiang approached, patted his shoulder, and laughed heartily. "So that's it, I misjudged you. Your life isn't without a way to be fixed. If you find a way, you will definitely become a big character." Lin Huang forced a smile, not forgetting to remind, "Thank you, but I don't have much time left." Lijiang nodded, preparing to leave, not forgetting to advise, "The damage report has been sent. Tomorrow, members of the Hunter Association will come to provide free accommodation for everyone. Wait for news, okay?" Lin Huang replied. "Sorry for bothering you." She walked a bit, suddenly turned back to look at the 2 brothers and said, "Don't die so easily. I hope we have the chance to meet again." As Lijiang's figure gradually faded, Hin Yi turned to her brother, worriedly asking, "Brother, where will we sleep tonight?" Lin Huang was also concerned. It was really hard to predict. He led her into the living room, gently saying, "Just rest here for one night, we'll figure it out tomorrow." Hin Yi just lay down not long after she started to snore. Lin Huang smiled helplessly, thinking that she really was a child. As soon as she lay down, she fell asleep right away. But Hin Yi wasn't actually asleep. She was lost in thought, all because of her useless brother. Every time she thought about this, she felt pressure. Just then, a gloomy voice echoed beside her. He, a lovely little sister, but your brother is really useless, poor thing. Lin Huang was startled and turned around, wide-eyed looking at Little Black, seeing the worried look on his face. He leisurely spoke, Don't worry, besides you, no one else can see me. And where did you get this name Little Black from? Lin Huang sighed in relief, feeling lighter. The fact that a golden finger like you appeared here is against the rules of this world. It's best not to let anyone know. He paused for a moment, his voice lowered. But you're right, I have to protect my sister. It's just that I'm too weak. Little Black pretended to be naive. Oh. Lin Huang took a deep breath, his voice firm. I want to withdraw the card. Despite his decisive attitude, Little Black still hesitated to ask, Are you sure you want to withdraw the card? He gritted his teeth, clenched his fists, confirming immediately. A brilliant circle of fire appeared in the air, gradually condensing into a card. The system spoke coldly. Congratulations, the player has received a mission card. Lin Huang held the card, sweat pouring out, his voice trembling. Mission card. He flipped the card over and indeed saw the 3 words mission card prominently on the other side. The mission content was clear. Within 1 month, become a reserve hunter. Complete the mission to receive a flawless card. If not completed within the specified time, the golden finger will be eliminated forever. Discontent was evident on Lin Huang's face. He shouted, That's a lie! I've never heard that the golden finger could also be eliminated. Confused, he turned to Little Black. Wait, you have to reach the Black Steel Realm to participate. How can I? Little Black pointed out in a teaching manner. The mission has been announced. For detailed information, please see the back of the card. Hearing this, Lin Huang tugged at his hair, tears streaming down his face. He tightly held the cursed mission card, silently lamenting, Sure enough, what bad luck, still bad luck. Lin Huang's eyes flashed with sharpness. He put away the mission card, his voice full of determination. No matter what the flawless card is, I must complete this mission. We can't afford to lose Xiaohe. I have no other chance. The next morning, the first rays of sunlight fell on Lin Huang's dilapidated house. From inside, Hin Yi's voice rang out, Brother, I'm going to school now. He flung the door open and called out, I heard that the psychological issues with the child have been resolved recently, but still be careful. Don't wander off. Hin Yi rushed out, her mouth stuffed with bread, looking hurried. Then Lin Huang kept rambling. Someone is coming to fix the house today. I'll send you the address of the temporary place later. She responded curtly, Uh-huh. He watched Hin Yi's figure gradually disappear, smiling fondly at the little girl. It's almost time for school. As he turned back inside, he slammed the door shut, his voice tired. Now I have to take care of the main issue. As he entered, he was startled to see Xiaohe sticking out its tongue, bulging its eyes, doing all sorts of strange things. Lin Huang shouted in panic, Xiaohe! He quickly picked it up to check. Xiaohe confusedly raised its paw. Can't you see I'm licking my fur? Ignoring its words, Lin Huang urged, My issues are more important than that mission card. How can I complete it? Xiao. He continued to lick its body, nonchalantly replied, Actually, let's not talk about whether you can pass the hunter selection exam. To register, you must at least reach the Black Steel Realm. It seems our fate ends here. Anger flared up inside Lin Huang. He clenched his fists, glared, and grabbed Xiao. His neck. If that's the case, I'll cook dog meat stew for lunch. Xiaohe panicked and quickly shouted, Wait! I'm serious unless you find a way to register or some other method. Wait! Lin Huang rubbed his chin, his eyes contemplative. In a short time, reaching the Black Steel Realm is as hard as climbing to the sky, but there are ways to register for the exam. He released Xiaohe, speaking decisively. You can summon the Bloodmark entity and use it as a proxy to participate in the competition. Xiaohe nodded in agreement. That's right. Summoning the proxy system can also be registered as an exception. Lin Huang raised his index finger to analyze. The ability of the Black Steel 3-star Bloodmark entity is enough to participate, but the weaknesses are also clear. If the opponent uses the defeated human Bloodmark entity, they would definitely face disadvantages. Unless hearing this Xiao, he was startled and stepped back. Don't tell me you plan to use the upgrade card. Lin Huang frowned in dissatisfaction. I know using the upgrade card for monsters is a waste, but completing the mission is more important. He turned and asked anxiously, Xiaohe, how do I summon the Bloodmark worm? It stammered in response. Just imagine the summoning card, it will appear. Crumple the card to summon the monster. Lin Huang tightly shut his eyes and asked rapidly, The card I summon others can't see it right. Xiao He crossed its legs, floating in the air, replied, "That's right. Except for the summoned monster, the card, or anything else on, you cannot be seen by anyone." Lin Huang breathed a sigh of relief so he didn't have to worry about his golden fingers being exposed. He looked at the card in his hand, which had a picture of a ferocious skull monster that was infuriating. Without hesitation, he crumpled the card. Before Xiao He's eyes, the fragments from the card immediately flew out, swirling behind him, gradually condensing into the shape of a young man in black. This person stands boldly in the middle of the house, one hand covering their face, surrounded by intense swirling streams of bright red power. Lin Huang spoke up, sounding surprised. "This is the Blood Market, Lord." Xiao He flew over and asked, "You have summoned it already, so do you want to use the upgrade card now?" Lin Huang stroked his chin constantly, observing the young man in black in front of him, silently thinking that this disguise looked just like a human. He pointed at that person, turned to Xiao He with a suspicious look, and asked, "First, has it upgraded yet?" Xiao He replied, sounding a bit indifferent. "The upgrade card can only be used once, are you sure?" Lin Huang confidently nodded. "Definitely go ahead." Xiao He lazily took out the upgrade card and said, "Upgrade the Blood Market Lord." Immediately, a brilliant light emanated from the card, flying towards and wrapping around the young man. Xiao He grimaced. "Using this card on the Blood Market is really a waste." Lin Huang covered his eyes with his hand, muttering, "Too dazzling." The system announced, "Upgrade complete." Witnessing the scene before him, Lin Huang was stunned, covering his mouth. "Is it done?" The young man, now called Bai, stood in the middle of the brilliant flames, but the fire did not harm him at all. Lin Huang couldn't help but exclaim, "This is awesome!" He smiled with satisfaction, pointing at Bai's face. "Not bad, every character with silver hair is strong. From today on, your name is Bai." After finishing, Bai's body glowed brightly and then transformed back into the card lying snugly in Lin Huang's hand. The card has now changed, featuring a grand image of Bai, clearly stating, "Bai Rarity, rare type of monster, bloodworm, combat level, black iron, 3 stars, bronze, 3 stars, skills, 1 blood energy, 2 level 2, primary resurrection, primary 3 blood summoning status when opening the battle, ranking evaluation of 4.5. After reading, Lin Huang couldn't help but turn to complain to Xiao He, "These evaluations on the card are so ugly." Lin Huang held the upgraded card, looking confused as he asked Xiao He, "I have a question. Why does its combat level have 2 values?" Xiao He tilted his body, glanced at him with one eye, and explained leisurely, "For example, after leveling up, the bloodworm has reached bronze 3 stars. But since the master is you who is still in the black iron realm, its level when summoned is pulled down to only show black iron 3 stars. Xiao He suddenly burst into laughter. "The master's realm drags the monster's level down. This is rare." Lin Huang shot him a disapproving look, gritting his teeth. "If you talk like that, this friendship won't last long." Xiao He shrugged and replied nonchalantly, "I don't need friends." While Lin Huang was still bickering with Xiao He, there was a loud knocking at the door outside. "Open up, is anyone there?" He irritably walked over to turn the doorknob, muttering, "Coming." As soon as the door opened, 2 tall men wearing dark glasses with an imposing aura caught his eye. Lin Huang was slightly confused, but still tried to remain calm. "What do you want?" One man spoke up, frowning and asking, "Are you Lin Huang?" He nodded. "That's me." In his heart, he was suspicious about which gang these members belonged to, whether they were assassins or seeking revenge for the blood market. But the man smiled happily. "Mr. Lamb, it's an honor to meet you. We received a repair notice from the government alliance here to fix the house for you, Mr. Lin Huang." Sighing with relief, the tension faded. It turned out to be just a house repair. He replied, "Oh, all right, nice to meet you." In front, a group of bodyguards and workers appeared, looking mysterious yet polite. One of them handed him a shiny gold card regarding the house renovation. "If you have any requests, just let us know and we will accommodate. Everything will be completed in 5 days. During this time, we will provide free accommodation for you." Lin Huang politely accepted the shiny gold card, thinking to himself, "Is this a permanent residence? I heard this is a high-end area." The bodyguard continued with a smile. "Leave the rest to us. We will make you satisfied." The scene before him was an airy, cool area right in the city center. It was a vast school welcoming bright sunlight and a pleasant breeze every day. In front of the entrance, 2 guards stood firmly, ensuring absolute safety. The compensation from the government alliance for the damage caused by the monster was astonishingly high. Lin Huang and his sister Hin Hai walked down the path leading to the temporary house, sweating profusely under the scorching summer sun. Hin Hai wiped her forehead, panting. "Brother, this place is close to our school. I never expected to stay here someday." Lin Huang nodded. Even though it's in a high-end area, this place is among the most luxurious. They stopped in front of a magnificent building with intricately carved gemstone floors and 6 magnificent columns on either side of the stairs exuding opulence. Outside, 2 people warmly welcomed them. "Esteemed guests, please come this way." It was evident that this place was built with great care. Lin Huang and Hin Hai were starving, unable to wait. "Let's hurry and eat first. After eating, we can come back to rest." Lin Huang paused and asked, "Where's the dining area?" As soon as she entered the dining room, Hin Hai suddenly lost her appetite. It seemed she was no longer hungry. But then she turned around and saw Lin Huang holding a bright red boiled lobster in one hand and a plate of steaming hot buns in the other, still chewing. He smiled. "Don't worry, the food here is included with the free accommodation." Lin Huang and Hin Hai gaped. "Really? Are you eating that much?" Hearing this, she immediately rushed to the dining table, devouring the food happily. Next to her was a plate of dumplings stacked higher than her head, and under the table was a plate of chicken. She grabbed a chicken leg, munching delightfully, so good Lin Huang stood by, helplessly watching his sister change so quickly. Who said they were not hungry just now? While he was eating, he suddenly paused with crumbs still on his lips. Why was it so quiet around all of a sudden? Suddenly a person entered the dining room, tall and big, usually dressed in a black outfit covering his whole body, making everyone around tremble in fear. Behind him was a gigantic sword with a majestic posture and aura that was mysterious and terrifying. His hands were clenched, as if ready for battle, with a scar crossing one eye, adding to his fierce appearance. Hin Hai was focused on eating, looked up curiously and asked, "Brother, look at that person." Lin Huang hurriedly interrupted, his voice anxious. "Sister, don't look, don't talk, just eat." But he couldn't focus on eating. His back was cold, silently thinking why he felt like that man was looking this way. Hin Hai stretched her belly, satisfied. "Hey, I'm full now." Seeing that, Lin Huang immediately stood up, grabbing his sister's hand to pull her away. Hin Hai staggered after him, still reluctant. "Oh, but I haven't had dessert yet." Ignoring her words, he silently thought that this person was not right. They had to escape quickly. Lin Huang secretly looked back and saw the man called Quotnyat slam the table and stand up, leaving the meal behind, food scattered everywhere from the strong slam. He left under the astonished gaze of everyone. Lin Huang murmured, "No way, big brother, eat more." In the hallway, Hin Ni exclaimed, "Wow, walking on this carpet feels like walking on clouds." She was dazzled by the luxury of the hotel, while Lin Huang remained vigilant. "In such a big hotel, why does he keep following us?" Hin Ni pointed at room 302, happily exclaimed, "Brother, this is our room." Lin Huang didn't pay attention to Hin Ni's words, his mind heavy with calculations. "Even if I can't win, I must protect my sister." He stood in front of her warily, looking at the man, his voice icy. "Why are you following us?" The killing intent from Quotnyat suddenly surged, his face serious, but the atmosphere suddenly relaxed. He slowly said and opened the door of the opposite room. "I'm in the room across." Lin Huang awkwardly scratched his head. "Sorry." Qin Yi excitedly entered the room, running around exclaiming, "The room is so big! It has 2 bedrooms. It's so beautiful, come over and see." Lin Huang replied, his voice still nervous, like in an action movie. "Wait a minute, I'll be right there." Hin Yi plopped down on the sofa, satisfied, saying, "Brother, there are so many people here. If he is a bad guy, he wouldn't dare to do anything." Lin Huang sighed. "Yeah, it's probably just me being too tense. All right, you go shower and do your homework, then take a break." Qin Yi pouted. "It's hard to be in such a fancy place. I want to play more." The clock struck 12:10 a.m. Seeing Hin Ni peacefully asleep in bed, the sound of her snoring echoed. Lin Huang felt somewhat relieved. He thought, these past 2 days have been tough. He opened the system screen, murmuring, "The selection competition for reserve hunters a few years ago has some highlight videos online. Watching them for experience should be helpful." On the screen, a girl appeared, having just won a match. Behind her was a chaotic scene, flames burning fiercely as if just having gone through an extremely tumultuous moment. Lin Huang exclaimed, "Ah, this is the Battle of Lijiang from that year, so strong, no wonder he's a talented silver hunter." Suddenly, he was startled by sounds coming from the opposite room. He murmured, "It's past midnight. What is that scarred man doing outside?" Lin Huang in the deserted hotel hallway tried to step out quietly, making no sound. The dark path was only illuminated by the flickering streetlights. Lin Huang looked down from the high floor, thinking to himself, "That's him." The man in the solid armor with a gap gripping a huge sword tightly strolling through the quiet night. His mysterious aura became even more frightening under the moonless sky with the wind howling fiercely. He wondered, what is he planning to do? Suddenly, he assumed a fighting stance, the sword held horizontally against his neck, ready to strike. With just a small movement, the blade created a strong gust emanating an astonishing aura. Suddenly, he swung the sword up to the sky. A terrifying shockwave echoed. Lin Huang looked down from above and suddenly realized he was practicing swordsmanship. He sighed to himself. The decisive sword technique was exactly what he was missing. Continuing to swing the sword, each strike was a moment for Lin Huang to closely observe his technique. There are 18 moves. If I watch a few more times, I'm sure I will remember them. One swing of the sword cut through the air, creating two brilliant streams of blue light. The more Lin Huang watched, the more pleased he was. Staying at this hotel was definitely worth it. Suddenly, a bird-like creature appeared outside the house announcing, "Fast delivery has arrived, please accept the package." A caption appeared, "Heavenly language bird. A low-level monster can speak human language, has good flying skills, capable of storing items domesticated by humans for transportation." Lam Hein was brushing her teeth, leaning over to ask, "Did you buy something?" In front of her was the sight of Lin Huang sitting amidst a pile of packages. Half his height, the heavenly language bird still hovering nearby, saying, "Mr. Lam, your items have arrived. Please sign for them." Lin Huang looked at Hin Ni in confusion, urging, "That's right. Hurry up and change. We're almost late for class." Hin Ni, with toothpaste still on her mouth, turned to ask, "Why did you suddenly decide to buy something? What did you buy?" Lin Huang grimaced, pushing her inside while saying, "It's the stuff I need to prepare for the entrance exam." "Don't look anymore. Hurry up and get ready for school. We're almost late." After a struggle, he finally managed to shove Hin Ni into the room. The room was now left with only Lin Huang and the unopened packages. He sighed, "Phew, these things have cost almost all my savings. I hope it's worth it." He opened each package eagerly. Lin Huang casually sat on one package, holding a gray box of explosive, armor-piercing bullets. There were only 10 rounds, but in a critical moment they would definitely save him. His eyes stopped at the large, unopened package on the ground. He muttered, "Next is the main item." From the box, he pulled out a sharp sword as long as he was tall. Lin Huang was excited. "The combat sword meets the standards of the Black Adaptation realm. This is the best weapon I've ever bought." Holding the sword, he closed his eyes, feeling its weight. He thought to himself, "I clearly remember all 18 moves of the Foundation. Let's see how it goes." Without hesitation, Lin Huang swung the sword decisively 3 times, symbolizing 3 moves demonstrating a flourish. The movements were powerful and precise. At that moment, the heart realm on his hand lit up, announcing, "Congratulations, player, you have obtained a fragment of the Great Wilderness Sword skill." Lin Huang happily turned to Xiao He, asking, "Xiao He, what is a skill fragment?" Xiao He replied, his tone a bit dismissive. "It's just a basic item. Gather enough fragments and you will be able to acquire the skill." Possessing that skill, hearing this, Lin Huang's eyes sparkled. He tightened his grip on the sword, saying, "Then it's as easy as eating corn. I just need to practice a few more times, maybe I'll gather enough." But Xiao He, looking bored, floated in the air, mumbling, "Dream on, darling." Immediately, a vivid image of himself diligently practicing the sword appeared before Lin Huang, each sharp movement slicing through the air. Xiao He explained, "The practice must achieve over 80% effectiveness to be considered effective training. Only the first time counts for fragments, meaning only when you achieve 100% effectiveness will you get a fragment." After hearing this, Lin Huang's expression slightly changed, his eyes revealing astonishment. He exclaimed, "So you're saying that I can only get a fragment if I practice exactly 100% of his moves?" Xiao He replied without hesitation. "That's right. Do you think it's easy to acquire that new skill?" Lin Huang tightened the sword in his hand, his eyes burning with determination. His whole being seemed to ignite with momentum like a torch in the night. "Then I'll keep practicing. I will definitely gather enough." Xiao He floated beside him, yawning with a lazy expression, mumbling, Yeah, keep it up. I'm going to sleep." 9 hours later, as the sunset descended, painting the sky a fiery red, Lin Huang was exhausted, lying flat on the ground, panting. He had only gathered 20% of the skill fragments, his face flushed, blending with the color of the sky, his body radiating heat, sweat pouring down as if he had just gone through a fierce battle. Just then the door swung open, making a familiar sound. Lam Hin entered, followed by a bald man looking timid. She introduced this person as the hotel owner, Mr. Vu. He wants to greet us. Why are you sleeping on the ground? Even though he was so tired he could barely move, Lin Huang still managed to sit up. The owner's voice was halting but polite. Mr. Vu courteously invited them to sit. Mr. Vu smiled in response. Mr. Lam, welcome to our place. I've been a bit busy lately, so I only came to greet you now. I hope you can forgive me. Lam Hin curiously turned to ask, Brother, what were you busy with today? Hey. At this point, Lin Huang had leaned back in the chair, exhaling as he replied, Nothing. Mr. Vu, seeing his pitiful state, couldn't help but pour a glass of water and push it towards Lin Huang. Young people always have to work hard to make a living, and this is my special calming tea. Here, please have a cup. Lin Huang, though still a bit tired, lifted the teacup, his eyes shining with satisfaction. Thank you, he said. The hotel is not only luxurious, but the service is also excellent. Mr. Vu scratched his shiny, bald head, smiling back humbly. Ha, as long as the guests are satisfied, that's already my honor. Don't let you two disturb your rest if you need anything. Just contact me. Lam Hin watched Mr. Vu's figure gradually disappear behind the door, softly saying, Even though he is the owner here, Mr. Vu is really very simple and friendly. Lin Huang took a sip of the tea, nodding in agreement. It's rare to see you so gentle like this. The tea is delicious. The flavor is very good. Lam Hin lifted the suitcase, placed it neatly on the table, and smiled. That's right, Boss Vu said this is a reward from the Hunter Association. I helped you carry it up. Here, looking at the neat suitcase in front of him, Lin Huang couldn't hide his excitement. Killing the copper blood bug. I wonder what good things will I get. As he opened the suitcase, a brilliant blue light immediately flashed, surprising Lin Huang. Modern, huh? I didn't expect it to open with your fingerprint. Lam Hin, sitting beside him, curiously asked, What's inside, brother? What? He carefully took out a gun, his eyes shining brightly as if he had just found a treasure. Black Shadow 33. This is the Black Iron Shadow gun. The latest weapon from the SSS company can switch between two firing modes, the 6-gun and the sniper. Lin Huang, with a confident smile, lifted the gun and expertly aimed it. It can be said that in the current market, this is the best Black Iron Shadow gun. It might even be better than the copper equipment. Lam Hin leaned against the sofa, resting her chin on her hand, looking at him and marveling at how generous the Hunter Association truly is. But right after that, Lin Huang closed his eyes, his brow slightly furrowed, his voice lowered. Unfortunately, this gun operates using life energy. Only when he achieves the inscription mastery can he use it. In his heart, he silently told himself that it seems that quickly acquiring the Great Emperor's blade skill is the most important thing now. Lam Hin keenly noticed the change in his attitude, her eyes widening in surprise as she asked, Why did you suddenly say you want to join the Hunter Association? Although you are very powerful, I still feel a bit worried. Lin Huang smiled gently, moved closer, gently, turned her head and reassured her, Don't worry, I told you I won't abandon you. If I say I can do it, then I will. Lam Hin smiled sweetly, her eyes sparkling. Yes, I believe you. From outside the apartment, noisy sounds mixed with familiar voices. Stop talking nonsense quickly. Do your homework. She replied in a light but mischievous tone. Got it, you talk too much. Just as Lam Hin left, Lin Huang immediately gripped the blade tightly, standing proudly in the middle of the room. He thought to himself that Boss Vu's calming tea indeed has a miraculous effect. After resting a bit, he felt full of energy. Then he began to swing the blade, each sharp stroke cutting through the air. A system continuously issued notifications. The electronic voice sounded steadily. Congratulations to the player for obtaining the fragment of the Great Emperor's Blade skill card 1. Congratulations to the player for obtaining the fragment of the Great Emperor's Blade skill card 1. But the more Lin Huang practiced, the more he felt the difference. Not only that, his focus and proficiency also increased. The speed of training was getting faster and faster. Sweat poured out, soaking his face. His eyes wide open, burning with determination as if he couldn't stop. In the blink of an eye, dawn appeared. The morning sun streamed through the window, shining on the table where yesterday's cup of tea still remained not a drop less. Lam Hin came down from the stairs, surprised to see her brother still diligently swinging the blade all night. Are you not sleeping, Lin Huang? His eyes were tightly shut from exhaustion, but inside a flame of determination still burned bright. The chances of obtaining the fragment are increasing, so I have to continue. He mumbled. The sword in his hand seemed to merge with his body. Each slash felt like a possession, continuing a few more times. Lam Hin looked at her brother in that state without saying another word. She smiled, put on her backpack, and cheerfully walked out the door. I'm going to school. As the morning light flooded the room, the system panel lit up again, announcing, "Congratulations! The player has obtained the fragment of the Great Emperor Sword technique." Lin Huang was exhausted at this point, the sword resting on his shoulder, sweat flowing like a river. But his face was radiant, a satisfied smile blooming on his lips. In front of him, a blue panel displayed the text, "The Great Emperor Sword technique has accumulated 300 fragments. It can be fused into the confirmed Great Emperor Sword technique. Fuse it." Lin Huang rested the long sword on his shoulder, his sharp gaze fixed on the floating text from the system device. The prominent notification above stirred his heart. The number of fragments of the Great Emperor Sword technique has reached 300. It can be fused into the confirmed Supreme Great Emperor Sword technique. He observed intently, his voice unable to hide his excitement. So, the technique also has a drawing skill. Instantly fuse it. The system immediately emitted a loud sound, confirmation notification. Without hesitation, he pressed agree. Confirmed. A brilliant yellow card appeared in his hand. The light from the card reflected on his face, highlighting his sparkling eyes filled with joy. On the card, an image of him holding the sword standing firm like a mountain vividly appeared. He exclaimed excitedly, "Got it!" Lin Huang looked down at the dazzling yellow card, his eyes showing a hint of doubt. He flipped the card over and slowly read, "Supreme Great Emperor Sword Technique." His voice echoed in the quiet space as if he were mumbling to himself. The back of the card stated clearly, "Skill card, skill name, Great Emperor Sword, Technique, Supreme, Rarity, Rare Skill Type. Sword skill 1 level, Golden skill status usable. Note: this is a special combat skill, no level usage restriction. The power of the skill will change according to the player's level. Rank evaluation." Just then, Xiaohei appeared, legs crossed, eyes half closed, with a tone full of regret. "The Great Emperor Sword technique has upper and lower heavens successfully combining will achieve the execution level." Lin Huang, upon hearing this, opened his eyes wide, filled with astonishment and excitement. He exclaimed, "Is the execution level that powerful?" But Xiaohei maintained a lazy demeanor, gesturing regretfully with both hands, replying, "Unfortunately, the lower heaven has been lost for a long time. I don't even know where it is." Lin Huang pondered, his deep gaze flashing with a hint of contemplation. He suddenly remembered the scar-faced man, the one who possessed this valuable skill. Maybe he already knows I've stolen it. Although not spoken, he must have been paying attention to me, so I should thank him and also ask where the lower heaven is. Lin Huang's eyes sparkled with a burning determination. He raised his hand to press the doorbell, the sound echoing, breaking the silence of the space. Standing in front of the wooden door, he patiently waited for the owner of the room. The creaking door opened. Katnat appeared, his sharp gaze fixed on him, speaking, "What is it?" He opened the door wide and stepped outside. Lin Huang hurried forward, bowing respectfully. Before Katnat could understand what was happening, he spoke up. "Thank you. You have taught me swordsmanship for the past 3 days." Katnat stepped inside, gripping the doorknob tightly, his cold gaze sweeping over him. He emphasized, "I did not teach you, you learned on your own. How much you learned, whether a lot or a little, is your own business." Lin Huang still wore a bright smile, his tone completely respectful and full of gratitude. "Anyway, I still have to thank you." Before he could finish his sentence, Katnat coldly slammed the door shut. The sound of the slam was powerful, shaking the whole room. Faced with that indifferent attitude, Lin Huang sighed softly. His face slightly embarrassed, he turned to leave, but in his heart he still did not give up the intention to find out about Ha Thien. "Forget it, I'll wait until after the exam to ask where Ha Thien is," he thought to himself. At that moment, Lam Hin had just come back from school, her backpack still on her shoulder, her face showing a look of surprise. "Oh, is our house repaired? Are we moving back tomorrow?" Lin Huang nodded affirmatively. "That's right. I received the notice this afternoon." Hearing that, Lam Hin sat down on the floor, her eyes showing a hint of disappointment, but reluctant to leave this place. She sighed. "So fast." Lin Huang stepped in front of his sister, noticing her troubled mood. He raised his eyebrows in curiosity and asked, "What's wrong? The food here is delicious and the drinks are even better, right?" The atmosphere around seemed to calm down, only his warm gaze directed at her. He gently rubbed his sister's head, that tender touch carried comfort, as if wanting to convey deep affection. He spoke with determination, but full of warmth. "Don't worry, in the future I will definitely give you a life hundreds of times better than here." Lum Hin lowered her head, her eyes showing a hint of sadness, but deep within them sparkled a strong belief in her brother's promise. She softly said with sincerity, "I just need you to always be by my side, that's enough." The two siblings stood next to each other, their gazes directed towards the brightly lit skyscrapers in the distance. Lin Huang smiled lightly, patting her shoulder. "Go to sleep, tomorrow will be a busy day." It seemed that starting tomorrow their lives would turn a new page full of changes. In another corner, Gu Yi's mood was filled with contradictions and doubts. He wanted to ask Master Wu, but hesitated for a long time before speaking. "Sir, I don't understand." Master Wu glanced over, his gaze sharp. "What's wrong, Gu Yi?" "Me." Gu Yi frowned, his voice full of confusion. "This kid was lucky to kill a bloodworm, but his level is too low. The wheel. Disease is also about to break. He can only live for another 2 months at most. What do you see in him?" Master Wu lowered his head, his eyes half closed. His calm voice rang out. "Gu Yi, we have known each other for so long. Have you ever seen me make a mistake in my judgment?" His words not only showed confidence in his ability to judge people, but also seemed like a subtle reminder that made Gu Yi waver slightly. He looked up, his expression surprised. "Of course your identity is very special, originally indifferent to worldly affairs. Why would you bother to teach him sword techniques?" Master Wu took a few steps forward, a deep smile gleaming in his eyes. "Don't worry, I have my own calculations. You have talked to him, right? How do you feel?" Gu Yi pondered, recalling his interactions with Lin Huang. He replied, "Good quality, but not a genius, far inferior to Leila." Master Wu laughed upon hearing this, gently asking, "Is that so? Then let me ask you, how long does it take to train in the Great Wilderness Sword Manual?" The question made Cottonut hesitate, realizing something unusual. He frowned, his voice deepening. "The Dai Huangdao King seems easy, but it is very profound. I practice for at least 18 hours a day, a total of 103 days, before I dare to say I've learned it." He clasped his hands behind his back, his gaze distant, as if reminiscing about the hard months of practicing the Dai Huangdao Kin. Boss Vu smiled mysteriously, slowly saying, "You spent 103 days mastering the innate knife skills. How long do you think he needs?" Cottonut pondered for a moment, his eyes showing some doubt, then slowly replied, "In my opinion, probably 2 to 3 years." Boss Vu raised 3 fingers, a deep smile gleaming in his eyes. Cottonut still didn't understand, quickly asking, "Do you mean 3 years or more?" Boss Vu kept his 3 fingers raised, his tone full of implication. "No, he has already learned it. It only took 3 days." Cottonut was stunned, his eyes wide open, unable to believe what he had just heard. He stammered for a long time before finally saying, "How is this possible?" Boss Vu did not respond, only smiled, leaving Cottonut standing there still in shock. He quickly stepped forward, his voice gentle but firm. "Why can't it be? The next 2 days they packed up, we should leave too." Cottonut closed his eyes, a moment of dissatisfaction flashing by, but unable to defy the order, he had to nod, his voice low. "Yes." The next day, the sky was clear, and the brilliant sunshine shone down on the villa. Lin Huang and Lum Hing stood frozen in front of the house, their eyes wide with disbelief at what was unfolding before them. Lum Hing exclaimed, her voice trembling, "Are we dreaming?" Lin Huang was also overwhelmed by the magnificent scene, unable to hold back, and exclaimed, "What is going on?" Both stood still, their eyes glued to the house in front of them, full of doubts, as if they had gone to the wrong place. "Why does the house number belong to us?" Just then, a well-dressed man with slicked-back blonde hair, looking like a typical multi-level marketing employee, approached. He beamed at the two upon seeing them, his voice full of enthusiasm. "Mr. Lum, welcome home." The man quickly walked over, shook Lin Huang's hand, his face bright. "Are you satisfied?" Lin Huang was still in a daze, frowning to confirm it was mainly just fixing the places damaged by the monsters. The man laughed heartily, his eyes squinting. "You are a friend of Miss Lei Dai. Of course we have to put in our utmost effort." Lin Huang was stunned. A girl's image flashed in his mind, but he still couldn't believe it. He muttered softly, as if questioning himself. Lum Hin stood beside him hurriedly, covering her mouth, looking astonished. "Brother, he is talking about Sister Lei Lang Ha." The man nodded affirmatively. "That's right, Miss Lei Dai helped everyone submit the application. After the superiors reviewed, they decided that this repair must be done well." Lin Huang leaned closer, his voice softly curious as he asked the blond man, "What status does Lei Lang have?" He bent down, covering his mouth with his hand, whispering as if revealing a secret. "You don't know. Her father is one of the 3 vice presidents of the local Hunters Association, and her mother is a counselor of the Regional Government Alliance." After saying that, he quickly led the 2 away, but before leaving he turned back with a bright smile. "Wishing you both happiness. Goodbye. See you again." Lin Huang and Lam Hin stood silently watching the figure of the man fade away. He muttered softly, his tone quite blunt. "It would be better if it were goodbye forever. I don't want the monsters to destroy the house anymore." Lam Hin, standing beside him, chimed in mischievously. "So they thought you were a friend of Sister Lelang." Wrong person to flatter. Lin Huang merely smiled, not caring much about that. The important thing now is that their house has been renovated into a magnificent, dream-worthy place. He smiled with satisfaction. No matter what, we can consider ourselves lucky. Lam Hin admired the house, her eyes bright with uncontainable joy. "It's beautiful. These people may have a slightly wrong mindset, but their aesthetic sense isn't bad at all." Stepping inside, Lin Huang saw Lam Hin excitedly exploring every little corner of the house. She gasped in awe at the luxurious furniture, the attractive scenery outside, and the exquisite details of the interior. Everything caught his eye, making him feel somewhat at ease. But in his heart, he had already started thinking about more important matters. The house issue was settled now. He could focus on the main task, he thought to himself, his eyes flashing with determination. 3 days later, the atmosphere became lively as hunters from all over gathered. The preliminary hunting competition was about to begin, bringing excitement and fierce competition. Everyone was well prepared, with their spirits high and equipment ready to achieve the best results. Under the clear blue sky, white clouds drifted lazily, creating a peaceful scene contrasting with the approaching tension. Suddenly, Lin Huang took a deep breath and shouted in excitement. Lin Huang's eyes widened, filled with astonishment mixed with fear. He was riding on the back of a wind beast, a low-level monster but with formidable strength. With its excellent flying ability, explosive speed, and sudden power, it amazed everyone. Although it had been tamed for human transport, the feeling of gliding through the wind on its back still made Lin Huang pale, his voice trembling. "This is too exhilarating." The wind beast soared through the sky, its feathers flying wildly in the fierce wind. Its terrifying speed was beyond imagination. At base number 7, C-87, Lin Huang and the wind beast flew through the sky at breakneck speed. Before long, a vast base appeared before him, and he couldn't help but exclaim, "We've arrived in less than 2 hours." The wind beast truly lives up to its name. When they landed, the wind beast automatically walked into the pen, while several others were still soaring in the sky, perhaps transporting other contestants to the competition. Lin Huang moved forward, his gaze scanning the bustling base. He thought to himself, "There are too many people, where should I go to apply?" In his mind, the image of Lam Hin appeared, her eyes sparkling as if cheering him on. "I must be careful," he reminded himself, briefly worried that he had left all his savings for Lam Hin before returning. She should be fine at home. Those thoughts surged like an invisible source of motivation, giving him strength to overcome all challenges. Suddenly, a voice called out, pulling him back to reality. "Hey, the guy over there, you came to participate in the reserve hunter selection too, right? We're on the same path. Let's go together." A young man with blonde hair and a bright, energetic face waved at him with a cheerful smile. Lin Huang nodded without hesitation. Sure." Hearing this, the young man quickly stepped forward, casually putting his arm around Lin Huang's shoulders like old friends. He laughed heartily. "Let me introduce myself. I'm Ya Yi Hang. I didn't expect you to dare to participate before reaching the Black Steel border. That's commendable bravery." Lin Huang, caught up in Ya Yi Hang's enthusiasm, smiled back. "I'm Lin Huang, thanks for the compliment." Seeing Ya Yi Hang's friendly demeanor and warm handshake, Lin Huang couldn't help but feel a big question mark arise in his mind. What kind of relationship is this? Since when did we become close? In front of outpost number 7C87, under the jurisdiction of the Hunter Association, crowds of people created a bustling scene. Ya Yi Hang's voice rang out excitedly. "I'm not wrong, this outpost of the Hunter Association has hunters taking on missions and regular people too. The numbers are quite large." Lin Huang walked ahead, his eyes scanning the lively surroundings. He turned to Ya Yi Hang curiously and asked, "You seem very familiar with the Hunter Association, huh?" He hummed as he walked, his eyes squinting with a smile, proudly replying, "Of course. My biggest dream is to become a monster hunter. As long as it's related to the association, it's all in the palm of my hand." Just as he was chatting happily, both were suddenly stopped by a beautiful woman dressed provocatively. She smiled, her voice gentle yet sharp. "Are you two here to participate in the hunter selection? The introduction ceremony is about to start. Follow me." Under her guidance, Lin Huang and Ya Yi Hang stepped into the spacious waiting hall where people were bustling about, both men and women of all shapes, causing Lin Huang to exclaim in surprise, "Are all these people participants in the selection?" Ya Yi Hang beside him also widened his eyes in amazement. So many people. They found a corner to rest, and Lin Huang sighed, turning to ask Ya Yi Hang, "What is the introduction ceremony?" At this moment, his face no longer had the cheerful expression from before, his eyes showing a hint of fatigue. He explained, "Before the selection, the association will send someone to explain the content of the test and the rules. If nothing else, this year's competition manager must be—" Before he could finish, a clear and powerful voice rang out, overpowering all noise, bringing silence to everyone. A girl with fiery red hair, her tight-fitting outfit accentuating her alluring figure, stepped onto the stage, holding a whip with an overwhelming presence. She raised her voice powerfully and decisively, "I am Wai Da Ngu, the chief examiner of this selection." Wai Da Ngu stood on the podium, exuding an overwhelming aura, and declared loudly, "From now on, the hall is forbidden to enter or exit." Lin Huang and Danyat Hang were stunned, their eyes fixed on the red-haired girl. She continued, her voice as cold as ice. "Any contestant who has not arrived is considered to have given up." Her words struck like thunder on a clear day, causing Danyat Hang to exclaim in shock, "It really is her, the demoness Wai Dungu." With a not-so-friendly face, she swept her cold gaze across the hall and warned, "Next, I will introduce the rules of the competition. While I'm speaking, if anyone interrupts, don't blame me for being rude." The sound of a whip echoed, demonstrating an inviolable authority. She began to clarify the characteristics and methods of the competition. The location for this exam is the Shik Kim Desert, 330 kilometers from Outpost 7C87. Everyone needs to arrive at Entrance A within 15 days and must cross a total of 1,500 kilometers of desert to reach Outpost 7D21. Idan Gu opened the map on the system and zoomed in to check the specific location. She continued, stating that during this exam, absolutely no food or drinks are allowed, as these can be found in the desert. Lin Huang hurriedly took out a notebook and focused on taking notes. Danyat Hang glanced over and couldn't help but complain, "Isn't it strange that you didn't note the location of the water source, but instead noted the monster's territory?" Lin Huang remained focused on writing, replying, "I'm scared to death. I'll note this down first and try to avoid those places later." Wai Donggu zoomed in on the map, pointing to a specific point. The safe path marked on the map must go through a snowy mountain called Than Nu Sun. No one is allowed to use any climbing equipment. If you do not reach Outpost 7D21 within 15 days, it is considered a failure. The hall immediately buzzed, the sound of discussion rising like a breaking wave. Don Et T couldn't hide his astonishment, exclaiming, "That door is a treasure." Lin Huang frowned, his expression doubtful. "A treasure?" Danyat Hang explained, his voice filled with excitement. "That is a high-level equipment regarded as a golden-grade treasure. Only by killing extremely high-level monsters can one have the chance to pick it up." The demoness is indeed not simple. Everyone in the hall turned their gaze to Idan-gu, her presence overshadowing all sounds. She spoke loudly, announcing, "Next, there will be someone coming to check each person's equipment space. You are not allowed to bring equipment higher than the black iron level, and no poison or prohibited substances. Each person will come up to receive a rescue item. When pressed, someone from the association will come to rescue you, but it also means giving up the competition." When Lin Huang stepped up to check, Idan-gu unexpectedly raised her hand to stop him. "Wait a minute." A wave of doubt surged in his heart. He thought to himself, "Is it because I'm just at the black iron level that they want to disqualify me?" Chumso. Idan-gu glanced at him, the corners of her mouth curling up into a half-smile, then scoffed coldly. Lin Huang did not hesitate to respond with a sharp gaze. He frowned, feeling as if her judgmental gaze was piercing through him. So this is being mocked. He wondered, his inner thoughts in turmoil. Idan-gu slightly closed her eyes, clasped her hands behind her back, and waved him off. He tightened the straps of his backpack, beads of sweat dotting his forehead, and walked past her with a reluctant expression. In his heart, he kept questioning himself. "Well, I guess that's it. I won't be able to live much longer, so she probably doesn't want to ask more." As he was lost in thought, Lin Huang suddenly stopped in front of a mysterious space, as if stepping into another dimension. He was stunned, exclaiming, "This is incredible." Danyat Hang, standing beside him, was also sweating, his voice trembling. "This is the power of the spatial treasure. Its rarity can be said to far exceed that of other treasures." Lin Huang was astonished, his eyes sparkling with amazement. "What female ghost it should be called Doraemon Cat?" Before he could fully fathom the situation, Dan Yat-hang stammered in panic. "What is that?" At this moment, Yi Dan-gu stood upright, pulling the whip in her hand, taut, making a sharp sound. Following her were 4 people in black, their serious faces exuding an oppressive aura. She continued, "The equipment space guidelines for everyone have been checked, and now we will begin. Everyone connect the Emperor's heart ring to the association's network. All navigation and positioning functions will be closed, only the item pickup function will be opened." The auditorium erupted in chaos, everyone panicked, feeling both fear and dissatisfaction. One person blurted out, "No way is the mission this harsh this year." Another person lamented, "It's over. Even navigation is turned off." A person in blue sighed, shaking his head. "This time the number of people passing the exam will surely be very low." A nearby blonde nodded, his eyes flashing with understanding. "Now I understand why encountering the female ghost is not a good omen." Yi Dan-gu stood on the podium wearing a proud smile, exuding an overpowering strength like a sharp spiritual blade. She coldly declared, "Now I officially announce the competition begins." Immediately, as the command sounded, the auditorium erupted into chaos. The contestants pushed at each other, diving into the race like fierce waves. The resounding cries began, then someone shouted determinedly, "We have to get to the water source quickly! We have to get the water source first." Mixed in are the terrible curses. "Don't push me." A guy in a hat is trying to calm the crowd down. "Don't make a fuss. There will definitely be another chance behind us." At this moment, Lin Huang and Dan Yat-hang are not on the sidelines. Both are running hard, but Dan Yat-hang notices Lin Huang is slower than the crowd, so he turns to him with a worried tone. "Lin Huang, I'll go ahead to scout the way. Take care." Lin Huang nods, breathing heavily. "Okay, I'll take my time." Watching the crowd gradually fade away, he feels a bit helpless. "In fact, I also want to be quick but don't have the strength." He thinks to himself at his speed, he estimates he can only cover about 40 kilometers in a day, and in 15 days he fears he won't even finish half the journey. Up high, Yi Dan-gu sits cross-legged, exuding an air of untouchable power. Next to her is a man in black, his face hidden behind a mysterious mask, sneering mockingly. "The Black Iron Realm hasn't arrived yet, and you're here to participate in the selection, thinking there's something special about it. It seems that your abilities are below standard." Yi Dan-gu remains silent, her gaze cold as ice, not the least bit shaken by the mockery. Inside, she understands that true strength does not lie in appearance or words, but in determination and fighting spirit that transcends all limits. The red-gold desert stretches endlessly with vast sand dunes painting a desolate and lonely landscape. The bright yellow of the sand further highlights the harsh dryness of this land. The deep blue sky contrasts with the ground, the blazing sun shining down, casting long, undulating shadows on the sand like motionless waves. Lin Huang trudges heavily on the burning sand, a lonely figure amidst the vast desert. Teo-hak hovers beside him, equally listless, his eyes half closed as if about to fall asleep. Lin Huang's footprints are imprinted in the sand, stretching from afar as a testament to his perseverance on this arduous journey. Teo-hak, with a somewhat bored tone, speaks up. "At your speed, it would take you a year to cover 1,500 kilometers." Lin Huang raises his hand to shield his forehead, his tired gaze directed forward as he replies in a hoarse, exhausted voice. "I'm not the same as the other Black Iron Realm participants. If I run like them, I wouldn't last half a day." Teo-hak glances at him, his eyes filled with doubt. "Except for the 2 days of climbing snow-capped mountains, you need to cover at least 100 kilometers every day to possibly finish." Lin Huang opens the notebook he has been keeping since Yi Dan-gu guided him, carefully reviewing each line. Teo-hak feels a hint of regret, speaking in a sad tone. "Therefore, relying solely on me is not enough. The system only has supporting functions. I cannot assist you." Lin Huang says, his eyes lighting up with a glimmer of hope, looking at Teo-hak, as if seeking help. "You just need to provide information. I can handle the rest." Teo-hak remains cross-legged, hovering eyes half closed, his tone filled with suspicion. "What do you want to do?" Lin Huang closes the notebook, takes a deep breath, his eyes burning with determination. He said, his voice firm, "Little Black, get the information of the Shadow Tribe in the Crimson Desert." The system screen immediately displayed information about the Shadow Tribe. The black steel monster is over 5 meters tall, has great strength, thick blood lives in groups in the Crimson Desert, has low intelligence, and is aggressive. Little Black was utterly surprised, unable to hold back his question. Why do you want to find information on the Shadow Tribe when you are on a safe path? Lin Huang did not hide at all, his eyes sparkling as he revealed his bold plan. I want to collect enough fragments to make a monster summoning card. Being in a group is a merger. Moreover, what could be better than using monsters here as mounts? Little Black listened, his face turning pale, almost jumping up, his voice filled with horror. Are you crazy? How can you deal with an entire tribe by yourself? Lin Huang smiled confidently, his eyes flashing with self-satisfaction. He replied, Who said I'm alone? Night fell over the Crimson Desert where the Shadow Tribe had set up camp tents, scattered on the sand, the campfire flickering, casting shadowy, ghostly shapes. A monster warning sign was planted right at the entrance as a reminder of the lurking dangers. Inside one tent, a two-headed snake monster sat there. One head was sleeping, snoring loudly, while the other with a single eye kept watch continuously, letting out eerie, savage laughs that chilled the air. Suddenly a stone flew and hit the monster right on the forehead, its single eye wide open, scanning all around. It snorted coldly, its voice threatening. Before it could understand what was happening, it spotted a dark shadow waving and moving quickly towards the group of monsters. The two-headed snake growled, one hand gripping a huge stick, the other clenched into a fist, making chilling sounds. Suddenly it threw a powerful stick towards the shadow. Lin Huang, with his agile body, dodged the blow, grimacing at the foul smell coming from the monster, exclaiming, Why is it so stinky up close? He quickly rushed towards the sand dune, running while taunting, Come here if you want to eat fresh human flesh, follow me. The shadow blood rushing to its brain had a fierce face chasing with terrifying speed. Its giant form kicked up sand and dust, raising its stick, intending to strike Lin Huang while he was distracted, its mouth roaring a deafening scream. Lin Huang was not scared at all, his face still radiating a confident smile. The shadow monster seemed to be facing a terrifying threat, its eyes wide open, looking bewildered. A flash of light appeared sharp as a knife cutting across its neck. The monster froze and then collapsed, its two heads rolling in the sand. A figure lightly landed on the desert ground where the monster's blood was still spreading red. The one who acted was Bai, with cold eyes, furrowed brows, and a powerful golden flame blazing behind him. Lin Huang rushed to Bai, giving a thumbs up, his voice full of excitement. Awesome! 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 Bai, I knew you would make it. Little Black hovered beside, astonished at him, not understanding where he found the confidence to face the entire Shadow Tribe alone. Then he suddenly realized the reason behind that madness. The Black Steel Tribe was at level 3. With abilities nearly equal to those of the Bronze Tribe, he could easily defeat the level 1 Black Steel monsters, Xiao He thought. Lin Huang patted Bai on the shoulder, smiling. When you said you weren't alone, you meant summoning Bai. He couldn't stop praising this strength. I think you don't need to lure the enemy directly. You can just go and slash them. Bai just glanced at him, her expression cold and indifferent. Suddenly, the system screen lit up, displaying the latest notification that the Fate Light had been achieved. Lin Huang exclaimed in surprise. Oh, brother! A series of brilliant lights radiated from the Fate Wheel, illuminating the entire space like stars in the desert night. He stared at his two hands, unable to believe his eyes, his voice trembling. My Fate Wheel is lit up. What is happening? Xiao He suddenly remembered something and quickly explained, Oh, I forgot to mention. The summoned monster of the Fate Wheel will resemble its master. The monster kills. Monster. The Fate Light received will be shared 50% with the master's Fate Wheel. Bai's Fate Wheel is also full now, so the Fate Light it receives will pass to you. Lin Huang's eyes shone brightly, as if ignited by a passionate flame. Good news fell from the sky. He thought about the feeling of energy surging in his body. He exclaimed, initially my Fate Wheel had 3 slots. Now it jumped to 28, so I won't die anymore. There's still hope to ascend to the level of Black Steel. Xiao He couldn't help but laugh at Lin Huang's excited expression. Meanwhile, Bai maintained her cold expression, as if indifferent to the affairs of the world. Lin Huang tightly gripped the sword. His eyes burned with determination as he shouted, Let's go! Let's go! In front of them stood 2 snake monsters. Their faces were dull with a confused expression. Their mouths emitted meaningless sounds, They hadn't reacted yet. A beam of light from Bai swiftly slashed one monster. The monster growled, clenching its fist and struggling, but couldn't escape the sharp blade. Its eyes bulged with ferocity. The other one stood stupidly watching its companion being taken down. It even carelessly cried out. Taking advantage of the restrained monster, Lin Huang swung his sword. A green light flashed as the blade touched its head. The monster's eyes bulged, its tongue hanging out red, and it collapsed. He shouted loudly, excitedly, Taste the power of my wild blade technique. On the other side, Bai coldly beheaded the remaining monster. Seeing his companions being eliminated, the other sand monsters screamed in a deafening roar echoing across the desert. A group of monsters, both male and female, approached. The mouth emitted terrifying sounds, kit. Just then, the system issued a notification. Has obtained the monster fragment card. Lin Huang looked at the increasingly numerous monsters with fierce momentum, but his mood flared up with excitement, thanks to the fate he just received. He tightened his grip on the sword. His eyes burned with determination, having obtained the monster fragment card. Several monsters were engulfed by the blazing golden flames of Bai, baring their teeth and claws lunging towards him. The system resounded again. Lin Huang obtained the monster fragment card. Surprised, but joy overwhelmed everything. The more monster fragments fell, the more he could summon. He thought to himself, lamenting there were too many fragments. Each time a fragment appeared, a monster had to fall. He quickly gathered all the monster cards of the little black floating beside him. Notification after 152, Fate Cells activated Fate Light, activating the purple Fate Cell, activating all will level up. Hearing the good news, Lin Huang felt a surge of enthusiasm. His eyes brightened, filled with excitement, activating. Lin Huang thought to himself, his heart beating wildly. Activating the purple cell costs 15 Fate Light. Never dared to dream of it before, but now the opportunity to level up was right in front of him. One hand holding a gun, the other carrying a sword on his shoulder, he commanded decisively, "Bye-bye, kill them all." Lin Huang from afar, a fierce roar echoed, causing Lin Huang to flinch slightly in fear. He turned to Little Black, his voice doubtful. "Little Black, what is that?" Little Black floated beside him, his eyes worried. "I see you are in trouble." Bai still maintained a cold demeanor, directing his sharp gaze towards the roar in the desert. Other contestants were gathering around the campfire, terrified by the deafening sound. They whispered among themselves. One person spoke up. "This is the call of Shadow. It seems to have gone mad." Another worriedly said, "How can we hear that? I'm afraid there are savage bronze monsters." Standing up, looking into the distance, muttering, "Dare to attack Shadow's base. At night it can only be a pack of giant wolves. Tonight promises to be a bloody battle on this desert." In his heart, he secretly hoped Lin Huang, hoping he was a little further away from that place. Over there, Lin Huang suddenly sneezed, causing a silly snake nearby to stand there dumbfounded as if a question mark appeared in its mind. Suddenly, a giant hand pierced through the fine sand, sharp claws glinting under the moonlight, accompanied by a roar shaking the desert. Lin Huang's face turned pale, sweat pouring out his eyes, clearly showing fear. Little Black was also panicking, his voice trembling. "Kill the small one, summon the big one, you pray." Bai, although his expression darkened, still maintained a silent demeanor, his eyes cold as ice. In front of them, a bronze monster chief stood tall, over 10 miller high, holding a gigantic staff, advancing with an overwhelming momentum. Its 3 heads swept around, their white eyes and jagged fangs highlighting its ferocity. Lin Huang exclaimed in horror, "Is this a demon? At 10 meters tall, why doesn't it back down?" Lin Huang and Bai combined their attacks, each launching a different technique. The light of the swords and golden flames intertwined as they charged straight at the giant monster. Bai leaped into the air, the golden flames blazing fiercely behind him, suppressing the Shadow Chief, creating an opportunity for Lin Huang. He tightened his grip on the gun, firing dazzling beams of light, but this bronze monster was much stronger than the previous ones. Lin Huang gritted his teeth, looking up at the monster's sweat pouring down his face, and exclaimed in shock, "This guy has tough skin." The wolf-headed chief swung its arm, delivering a terrifying blow that sent dust flying everywhere. Lin Huang squinted at the target, the worst-case scenario flashing in his mind. This monster has high attack power and thick blood. If it continues like this, we are finished. He observed its 3 heads roaring, "Big brother, help." A thought flashed, "Aim for the weak spot attack, quickly take it down." Lin Huang stood as bait, luring the monster towards him. Its gigantic punch came down, disorienting him, but he managed to dodge to the side. The monster roared, "Ugh, ugh, ugh!" Lin Huang quickly ran to the side, shooting sparks from his gun, urgently urging Bai to attack from behind. When the Shadow Chief spread its huge hand to block the beam of light, it suddenly realized something was off. Its eyes widened. It could only exclaim, "Ugh!" when Bai suddenly appeared behind the monster, causing it to panic. However, this chief was quicker than its kin, immediately turning to swing its hand to grab Bai. Fortunately, Bai dodged just in time as the monster prepared to continue its attack. Lin Huang shouted loudly to grab attention, "Bai, take it down!" The monster charged towards him like a fierce wind, leaving Bai behind. The roar shook the space. Roar, roar, roar. Bai stood frozen, a bit confused. Lin Huang gritted his teeth, his eyes determined, shouting as he ambushed the Shadow Chief. Opening its big mouth, it revealed its red tongues and sharp fangs. The middle head, with its pale white hair, increased its terrifying appearance. Its growl echoed endlessly as it charged at Lin Huang with all its might. He smiled slyly, his eyes gleaming with triumph. "You fell for it." Lin Huang swiftly reloaded his movements, precise, as if he had practiced 1,000 times. He aimed the gun straight at the Shadow Chief, his eyes arrogant. "It's over for you." 3 shots rang out in quick succession, each bullet hitting its mark. The space suddenly turned a bright red like blood. The Shadow Chief was bewildered by what was happening, collapsing onto the fine sand, fresh blood pouring from its mouth. A white smoke emanated from the giant body, signaling its end. Lin Huang had used black steel explosive bullets, a weapon strong enough to take down the bronze monster. Bai stood there, his gaze cold, slightly surprised. Xiao He was cheering excitedly. "Nice job, Tai Ding!" Lin Huang, despite struggling to walk from exhaustion, still approached Xiao He, half-jokingly scolding, "Ding, your head is in danger now. You are the fastest runner." After that, Xiao He smiled back in delight. "I can't help. I can only retreat with all my strength." Just then, the system screen lit up, displaying a new notification: received 1 complete monster card. You have completed the extermination of a higher-level monster and received an advanced card as a reward. A beam of light flashed in Lin Huang's palm, revealing a new gun. His face beamed with joy, extremely excited. "Is it really complete? I never expected to have this day. It's a pity it's not Bai attacking. Otherwise, he would have an additional life." A card appeared in his hand depicting a chief's diagram, rarity level type of monster, giant branch level black iron 3. Skill details: primary strength, primary white steel, primary ice steel. The summoning ability has been unlocked. He glanced over the information and exclaimed in surprise, "Though the power isn't as strong as Bai's with this rarity, the enhanced passive skills are really incredible." Turning to Xiao He, he declared, "I have drawn Bai's blood energy skill. This time I want the white steel skill." Upon hearing this, Xiao He burst into mocking laughter. "That's right, high attack means thick blood is needed. Otherwise, this creature of yours is worthless." Gripping the card tightly in his hand, he shot a cold glance at Xiao He as if to say that if this guy was rude, he was ready to teach him a lesson. The sparkling rays emanating from the card made him ponder deeply. Before wiping out the Shadow Tribe, he had gathered enough common shadow fragments, including the 3 existing monsters. He slightly curled his lips, satisfied with the result. The card suddenly shook, activating the skill lottery mechanism. A notification appeared: acquired the super-level white steel skill. Xiao He crossed his arms, his face showing boredom as he muttered, "No matter how many monster cards there are, you can only summon 1 at a time now. Wait until you get stronger to continue." He didn't respond, just quietly placed his hand on his chest. A beam of green light flashed, sucking Bai's body into the card. He sighed softly, his voice heavy with regret. "Bai, you've worked hard, rest now." Just as Bai disappeared, a tall, imposing figure appeared. It was a powerful serpent with a strong build, sporting a long, sharp horn on its head. 2 fangs peeked from the corners of its mouth, and he couldn't help but exclaim, "Wow, so powerful! I will call you Bao Jun from now on." Xiao He, on the other hand, seemed unimpressed, whispering scornfully, "You really are useless." From now on, accompanying him on the journey ahead will be Sado Bao Kun, a mighty black iron 3-star warrior. Xiao He asked, curiously, with a hint of doubt. "According to plan, you're going to use Bao Kun as a mount to get out of the desert, right?" He raised his hand to wipe his forehead, his eyes gazing into the distant horizon, shaking his head slightly. "Using a rare-level monster as a mount is too wasteful. I have another way." He raised 2 cards in his hand and shouted loudly, "Bao Jun, come back! Bai and I wiped out the Shadow Tribe just for this." In the blink of an eye, he activated and fused the 2 cards, which glowed and combined to create a common-level shadow card of level 11. A chubby short shadow appeared with a blank expression that showed no sign of intelligence. Looking at the newly formed monster, he nodded, feeling relieved. Using a common shadow as a mount makes sense. Bao Jun and Bai are assassins that can't be taken out casually. Xiao He looked at him, his eyes shining with a mix of admiration and teasing. "No wonder you come from a poor background. You calculate everything carefully." Xiao He said this in a tone that was half joking and half serious, making it hard to tell whether he was praising his keen calculations or mocking his humble origins. This is a common shadow despite its clumsy appearance. It carefully lifted him onto its shoulder as if afraid he would fall. One of its hands supported his back, while the other held his legs tightly with a silly face adorned with a bright yellow flower on its head, looking both foolish and adorable. Compared to the majestic aura of the Shadow Baojun, it was indeed on a completely different level. Xiao He floated along, explaining, when similar cards appear, they depend on their rarity. A card with a higher rarity can swallow a lower rarity card and gain a random skill upgrade. He glanced at Xiao He, his eyes sparkling with curiosity. So, if Baojun swallows this card, will it receive a random skill upgrade? Xiao He nodded in confirmation. That's right. Sitting casually on the Shadow's shoulder, Putong replied to Xiao He, "Don't rush. I'll keep this one to stand guard at night, hunt to complete the mission, then give it to Baojun later." Xiao He looked at him, his eyes showing a hint of doubt mixed with surprise. "You can think that thoroughly. But even though it looks slow, the common shadow is as fast as the wind. In the blink of an eye, it had carried him off at high speed, leaving behind a trail of thick white smoke. He sat cross-legged on its shoulder, shielding his forehead with his hand, gazing into the distant horizon, exclaiming, "If it weren't for the shadow, I would have only made it this far." Due to moving too fast and its massive size, the shadow didn't notice the large iron chain blocking the path, tripping and crashing heavily into the sand. He was thrown off, shouting loudly, "What was that shadow?" Fortunately, his reflexes were not bad, and he turned to land safely. He snorted coldly, his eyes sharp. "Humph, which fool dares to mess with me?" Suddenly a voice rang out, startling him. "Aren't you afraid of dying talking like that?" He was bewildered, unsure where the voice was coming from or who it belonged to. Behind him, Putong lay sprawled, crying, pitifully looking weak and vulnerable. From a distance, a group of teenagers appeared, laughing and mocking him incessantly. In the hands of the purple-clad, blonde-haired guy was an unpleasantly arrogant attitude. He spoke with a mocking tone, his sharp gaze fixed on him. "So you're the little devil you are, the Black Iron Conjurer, and you dare to participate in the craftsman's competition without even reaching the required level." The two ordinary snake beasts beside him, unclear if they understood his words, bared their teeth and growled, clearly showing hostility. He glanced at the group behind the blonde guy and realized that none of them had good intentions. He brushed the dust off his clothes and replied coldly, "So it's you, huh? I thought it was some strange beast." Today, the blonde guy heard him curse, his face turning red, gritting his teeth in anger. "You little brat! Who are you calling a beast?" Next to him, a long-haired guy with a solemn and inscrutable appearance stepped forward. He smiled amiably, his tone gentle. "Are you Lin Huang? Sorry for the trap that got you caught. I am Ta Ko Kang, and this is my cousin Tiet Kit. We mean no harm. We hope you can overlook this." He wasn't interested in their names and simply replied flatly, "No need, I need to move on." Time was more precious than gold to him right now. He couldn't afford to stop and chat or make acquaintances. He glanced at Ta Ko Kang and silently assessed, this guy is definitely the leader of that group. Humph, smooth talker, sweet words, hide malice, not a good person. Ta Ko Kang still maintained his smile, continuing in a seductive tone. This selection process is quite challenging. Even if the conjurer summons strong monsters, acting alone weakens their abilities significantly. Moreover, your snake beast can't climb the snowy mountains. How about we team up? When we reach the snowy mountains, we will help you get there. Hearing those words, his expression darkened. However, he skillfully declined, his voice calm but resolute. "Thank you for the kind offer, but I'm used to going alone. I don't like teaming up." Deep down, he thought, suddenly being nice, there must be some ulterior motive. Ta Ko Kang reached out, pretending to welcome, "Mr. Lum, please reconsider." But Tiet Kiet beside him had lost patience, secretly reaching behind to slowly pull out a knife from his belt, his gaze flashing with danger. Tiet Kiet showed his frustration, revealing the true intentions of his group, shouting with contempt, "Little brat, don't think you can act tough just because we are being nice. If it weren't for our need for your snake beast to quickly get to the snowy mountains, who would care about your life or death? What about being a conjurer? Taco is not a place for you to act cocky." He glared at them, his eyes burning with determination. "So are you guys refusing to give way?" "Je sais." A thought quickly crossed his mind. In the world of clans, families that reach golden level or higher are recognized as nobility by the government alliance. It's not surprising that they are relying on their status. Tiet Kiet, losing patience, pulled out his knife threateningly. "Don't waste words with him anymore." Ta Ko Kang, though still trying to appear patient, no longer spoke as politely as before. "Mr. Lum, I don't mean to make things difficult for you, but your attitude shows no respect for anyone. You will regret it later." Tiat stepped forward, arrogant and overbearing, appearing ready to use his fists to convince him. A guy like him only knows how to be obedient after a fight. With a shout, the entire group charged forward, intending to deal with him. The shadow roared fiercely, creating a rumbling atmosphere ready to face the battle. But just as their swords swung down, the shadow suddenly vanished. The group was stunned, stuttering, before finally exclaiming, "It vanished, it disappeared." Titkit, with a sneering face, charged straight at him, shouting, "To catch the enemy, you must catch the leader first." He seemed to think that he could easily handle him since he hadn't reached the Black Steel realm. He smiled provocatively, looking straight at him. "Let's see if you have the guts." Before he finished speaking, Bach appeared, taking a decisive fighting stance, confronting Tiatkit's group. He stared wide-eyed, unable to believe the scene before him, unconsciously muttering something. But before he could fully recover from his shock, he was struck repeatedly by a brilliant golden light from Bach, blood spewing from his mouth, along with a painful grunt. The three companions of Tiatkit saw the situation was not looking good, hurriedly running over, anxiously shouting, "Big brother!" The first guy to run back shouted in panic to his companions, "So it turns out he can still summon monsters." Another one rushed over, urgently ordering, "Hurry and save him!" Lin Huang calmly reached out to retract the monster card. Immediately, Bach activated the summoning, and then Bao Quan appeared, standing nearly 10 meters tall, exuding a fierce aura. The group that was about to rush to save Tiat suddenly froze, stunned at the sight of the gigantic monster behind him. The two companions turned around, horrified, unable to believe their eyes. One guy stammered, "No, it shouldn't be!" The other stared wide-eyed, muttering, "How can this be?" In an instant, Bao Quan swung its gigantic fist, knocking one guy away. He screamed. The cry, full of pain, echoed the scream, seemingly giving strength to Bao Quan. It roared, its aura exploding, throwing another guy backwards, causing the group to panic. After being knocked down by Bach, Tiatkit staggered to his feet. His whole body trembled, strength completely depleted. He groaned in a pained voice, "Ugh, damn it!" Takokang witnessed the terrifying strength of the youth they had once looked down on, unable to help but be stunned. He thought to himself, a summoner who hasn't reached the Black Steel realm, how could he summon 3 monsters? How is it possible? Lin Huang stood there with an arrogant aura behind him, was Bao Quan with terrifying combat strength. The golden smoke emanating from its body further enhanced its majesty. Bao Quan glared, its mouth emitting terrifying growls. One of his eyes flashed a bright red, his arrogant voice questioning them. "Didn't you want to teach me a lesson? So is this the end?" Bao Quan roared, throwing a powerful punch towards Takokang. He quickly raised his shield, fortunately managing to block the blow. He screamed loudly, his voice trembling, "Mr. Lum, let's talk things over slowly." Tiatkit stood beside, pale with fear. Long stirred up, he muttered, "The black iron grade protective weapon is about to break. This monster has strength equivalent to the Copper City level." He decisively issued an order. The tyrant growled, retracting his fist. Following the command, he coldly looked at Takokang, halting to see what this noble young master wanted to say. Takokang hurriedly softened his tone, sweetly mixed with a hint of pleading. "Mr. Lum, it was our fault to trouble you out of greed. I apologize." Tiatkit listened to Takokang's humble words, unable to suppress his boiling anger. He not only did not know his own strength, but also made provocative remarks. Tako doesn't need to fear him. If he kills someone, this kid will lose his qualification to compete and be blacklisted by the Hunters Association, never able to participate in the selection again. Moreover, he is a noble with the Alliance. Killing a noble is considered a serious crime. Hearing Tiatkit's foolish words, Takokang immediately turned around. His face darkened and shouted, "Shut up!" He stepped in front of Lin Huang, extending his hand. His tone softened as if retreating was advancing. "For you, Tako treats others with respect. I apologize on behalf of them, ready to compensate, make friends, and invite you to choose an equipment from my collection." Lin Huang looked straight into Takokang's eyes. His sharp gaze recognized the obvious insincerity. He spoke firmly, "I don't need your compensation," but his hand slightly moved, stopping in front of Tiatkit. It turned out he was not rejecting the compensation, but aiming at that arrogant Tiatkit. He pointed directly at him, clearly stating, "I want all the items in your storage space to compensate for the psychological damage you caused earlier." Tiatkit, kneeling on the ground, was stunned, unable to believe his ears. He frowned, roaring, "What?" Taking advantage of his relaxed guard, he suddenly threw a dart that pierced through the air, rushing towards him. Tiatkit excitedly shouted, "Without a summoned monster, you're just a useless piece of trash. What are you demanding?" But the weapon did not reach the tyrant as he swung his hand to stop it, emitting a furious roar. With bright eyes directed at Tiet Kiet, he clicked his tongue repeatedly as other darts flew towards him like rain. Unable to contain his anger, he leaned to the side, drew his gun, and fired continuously at Tiet Kiet, his voice cold as ice. "Do you really think I lack combat ability?" The tragic cries of Tiet Kiet echoed throughout the space. Yes, he was hit by a bullet from his gun. Bright red blood gushed from his mouth, and the wound on his shoulder caused him to collapse. The atmosphere immediately became tense and suffocating. Tako Kang was stunned, standing like a statue, unable to react to the situation out of control. He did not expect Lin Huang to be this strong. Tiet Kiet now no longer held any arrogance. He knelt on the desert sand, his eyes filled with fear and despair, his body trembling from the continuously bleeding wound. He raised his hand towards Tako Kang, his voice trembling in a plea. "Tako, help!" Tako Kang closed his eyes, helplessly sighed, and felt a surge of fear at Lin Huang's power. He stepped forward, standing in front of Tiet Kiet. He looked up, his gaze trembling. He coldly looked down, his voice sharp. "I give you 3 seconds, but not to apologize or to hand over the equipment in the storage space." He raised his gun, the barrel pointed straight at Tiet Kiet's head, his gaze resolute, filled with determination. In the moment of silence, he continued in a thunderous voice, delivering his last words. Those words were like a sharp blade pushing Tiet Kiet into the depths of despair. Tiet Kiet fell onto the sand, watching the barrel of the gun aimed at his forehead. Not understanding where he found a bit of confidence, he roared in threat. You wouldn't dare to kill me! If you dare—" Lin Huang interrupted, his attitude icy, his eyes glowing red. "If you dare, then I will be disqualified from the competition, right?" He displayed an unyielding mindset, not flinching under any pressure, looking straight at Tiet Kiet. He lowered his voice, filled with murderous intent. "Do you think I care about that?" He knelt down, stepping hard on Tiet Kiet's bleeding shoulder, causing him pain, gritting his teeth. Holding the gun, he pointed it straight at his head, his gaze unwavering. He smiled confidently, his eyes icy. "The summoner has not arrived yet. It's rare for Black Iron to summon monsters, let alone 3. Even if I don't become a hunter, I am already a target sought after by major figures." Tiet Kiet looked at him resentfully, not expecting him to disregard the qualifications for participating in the competition. He gritted his teeth, hissing through clenched teeth. "You?" He was pleased with his attitude and continued to mock. "Do you think the people of the Hunter Association can easily chase me away? Don't even mention killing you. Even if the young master and I killed you together, it would only be seen as a self-withdrawal." At this moment, Tiet Kiet realized the seriousness of the situation. He truly intended to kill him. His attitude immediately reversed, his words choked in his throat. Don't. But he didn't want to hear any more excuses. His patience had run out. Tiet Kiet's arrogant attitude only made him more irritated. He lowered his voice. "No more words, let's get going." The cold gun was aimed straight at his head, his finger poised on the trigger. Just then, Tako Kang shouted in panic, pleading, "Brother Lam, whatever you need, just say it, please spare his life." He supported his injured arm, limping closer, kneeling beside Tiet Kiet, begging, "Please spare me." At this moment, Tiet Kiet cared nothing for the equipment, only wanting to save his life. Trembling, he said, "I have 4 pieces of black iron equipment, all of which I can give you. As for the items in my storage space, you can take whatever you want." He begged him to let him go. With the gun still aimed at his head, Tiet Kiet paused slightly, furrowing his brow, contemplating. A cold voice rang out. "You deserve to die, but the young master's face still needs to be saved a little." A conflicting feeling arose within him. Killing these nobles might be satisfying, but it also made him feel awkward. Moreover, by threatening them like this, he hoped they wouldn't dare to bother him again in the future. He was lost in thought when suddenly he was startled. His sharp gaze glanced in one direction, and he frowned slightly, sensing something unusual. "Wait, there's someone over there." Under the blazing sun, he spotted a figure in a yellow shirt moving laboriously across the vast desert. The undulating sand dunes emphasized the harshness of this place. He frowned slightly, feeling a sense of familiarity in the appearance of that person. Suddenly, that person broke into a bright smile, holding a knife in one hand, sitting beside a dry tree roasting meat over a crackling fire. His face was full of vitality. Seeing him, the boy laughed loudly. "Here, admire this. I didn't expect this brother to be a spirit master. If I hadn't run into you, I might have been buried in the desert." He looked at the boy, feeling a bit curious. "You came with everyone, but why are you all alone now?" The piece of meat over the fire emitted a delicious aroma, golden and shiny. He sighed, looking dejected. "Don't mention it." The two sat facing each other with salad beside them, hugging his knees, eagerly watching the steaming piece of meat. Drool flowed from his mouth, adding a humorous touch to the scene. The boy recounted, his voice lowering. We had just set up the tent when suddenly Salad appeared. Everyone panicked and just dispersed like that. His face fell into contemplation, but then he quickly regained his spirits, cut a piece of meat with the knife, and held it out to him. "Thank you. You are the benefactor who saved me. From now on, we will be sworn brothers." The boy smiled brightly, his eyes squinting, offering the piece of meat still stuck on the knife. "Come on, try it. It's the armored pig I hunted today." He looked at the piece of meat, surprised by the boy's skills. "I didn't expect you could also roast meat." Hearing about food, his eyes lit up excitedly, boasting, "My goal is to become a food hunter." He knew that food hunters not only had the dishes laid out in front of them, but also fresh dumplings, golden fried shrimp, fragrant fish, blood mouth-watering beef, and a bowl of seafood noodles. He excitedly narrated, his eyes sparkling as if he could see the entire culinary world unfolding in his mind, passionately affirming that this was the true life under the flickering firelight. The two sat facing each other with Salad beside them, drooling continuously, his eyes eagerly fixed on the piece of meat. The boy in the yellow shirt chattered on about food. "The hind leg meat of this pig is just right. Roasting over low heat is the best. As for the giant-toothed wolf, the meat isn't very tasty, but the sinew is top-notch. Different regions have different types of monsters, and the ways of eating are also not the same." Lin Huang rested his chin, listening as the boy enthusiastically discussed. He briefly lost his patience, thinking to himself, a good person who can cook would surely be useful to have around. It's just a pity that he talks too much. Thinking this, he let out a slight sigh. The night sky was dotted with a few lonely twinkling stars standing out against the desert, with undulating sand dunes stretching far and wide. A simple tent was set up, and the fire outside continued to crackle. The boy in the yellow shirt suddenly spoke, his voice echoing in the quiet space. The boy in the yellow shirt was serious, his tone full of dissatisfaction. "Are you serious? Why are you still in there when I did not lost my tent? We can sleep together." "Seriously? Are you going to let me sleep out in the open in this desert?" Lin Huang poked his head out of the tent, looking at him resolutely. "No sleeping together. I'm used to sleeping alone. Many people can't sleep." "Yes," without letting him finish speaking. Da Nyat Hang lay down by the fire, curled up pitifully, eyes tightly shut, but tears still welling at the corners. He wiped his tears with his shirt hem, mumbling, "Fine, I understand now." Ultimately, it was a mistake. Looking at him, and then glancing at the silly ordinary goods vehicle, Lin Huang couldn't help but sweat. The unstable mental tyrant can keep watch tonight just in case something unexpected happens. He calculated silently. In the quiet space, when the tent had fallen silent, Da Nyat Hang outside was dreaming, drool flowing from the corner of his mouth. He giggled and said, "So fragrant." The fire had gone out, only a faint wisp of smoke lingered inside the tent. Lin Huang was in deep sleep, hands behind his head. Suddenly his eyes opened wide, realizing something unusual. He fell into a vigilant state, body tense. He softly huffed as the crackling sound echoed in the stillness. Lin Huang sat up abruptly. His gaze caught a giant shadow cast on the tent. The sharp horn stood out prominently. He exclaimed in shock. The tyrant, startled. He shook the tent and rushed outside, voice filled with worry. "What happened?" But while he was panicking, Da Nyat Hang was still sleeping soundly, indifferent to the danger. He hurriedly ran behind to pat the tyrant's back. Its eyes opened wide, staring straight ahead, expression clearly showing fear. An unsettling feeling surged. He shouted loudly, "Is the tyrant in danger?" The scene before him left him stunned, sweat pouring down his face. He gradually realized what was in front of him. Damn, this time it's over. Lin Huang rushed over to Da Nyat Hang, shaking his shoulders vigorously, voice urgent, "Da Nyat Hang, wake up quickly!" But the sleepiness only made him stir slightly, eyes still tightly shut. He grabbed his arm tightly, urging again, "Get up quickly!" In his drowsy state, Da Nyat Hang mumbled, "Is it already morning? Breakfast." Lin Huang was at a loss with his cluelessness. In a life-and-death situation, he was only thinking about eating. He snapped, voice high-pitched, "Eat your head, run fast!" But his ear-piercing shout startled Da Nyat Hang, who reluctantly sat up. He rubbed his eyes, still hazily, asking in confusion, Run? What do we need to run from?" "The monster you summoned is so strong, why run?" He lost his patience. His sharp gaze turned towards the distance, voice serious. "You check for yourself." At this moment, Da Nyat Hang finally realized the seriousness of the situation. His face showed embarrassment, words becoming clumsy. What is that in the distance?" A series of black shadows rushed towards them, carrying a strong aura of death that made the space become dark and eerie, causing Da Nyat Hang to tremble, filled with fear as he saw clearly what was in front of him. He screamed in horror, his heart pounding, the fear rising up to his throat as if to strangle all will. Lin Huang was no better off. His heart raced wildly in his chest. Both were sitting on the shoulders of Bao Quan, its strong strides shaking the ground while hundreds of strange creatures chased after them, creating a black whirlwind that swept up a cloud of dust. Jianyat Hang's scream tore through the air. His panicked face made the atmosphere even more tense. "Aha! We're dead! We're dead!" Lin Huang was sweating profusely, his terrified gaze directed at the black swarm flying in the sky. He shouted to Jianyat Hang, "What the hell is this?" "Black crows." His mind was spinning, racing through the knowledge he once knew. Nya is a type of spirit that has no physical form capable of passing through any obstacles. We can't hide and we can't run. Are we really going to die? He suddenly remembered a terrifying rumor. I saw news about hunters being wiped out by a swarm of Nya. The bodies had no wounds but were drained dry in the blink of an eye like mummies. Yes, Jianyat Hang replied, his face drained of blood, trembling. That's right, even golden hunters can't stand against them, let alone us. While discussing, Jianyat Hang suddenly slipped and fell, barely able to exclaim, "Ah!" Seeing him fall, Lin Huang panicked and shouted loudly. Bao Quan seemed to understand its master's intention and quickly reached out to grab Jianyat Hang tightly. Perhaps due to the strength of the grip, he turned pale, and a painful sound escaped his throat, but Bao Quan didn't care, and continued to rush forward, trying to escape from the pursuing swarm of Nya. Although Bao Quan's speed was decent, it was clearly still far behind the agility of the enemy. Lin Huang clung tightly to its shoulder, trying to maintain his balance so he wouldn't be thrown off. With each passing second, he knew that if they delayed any longer, they would only waste more time trying to escape. Jianyat Hang was still firmly held by Bao Quan, but due to the frantic speed and terrifying pressure, he felt dizzy, his face pale as the swarm of Nya closed in. The sound of black wings flapping mixed with fiery red eyes carrying a deadly aura. Bao Quan put all its strength into running away, the sounds of heavy breathing mixed with roaring echoed across the desert. Lin Huang clung tightly to Bao Quan's shoulder, feeling the long beginning to waver. Giving up the competition after a month of hard work would be for nothing. Golden fingers. Everything would be lost, he thought. But looking at the approaching swarm of Nya, he knew that if he didn't give up, he might not even keep his life. The fear surged. His heart raced wildly in his chest. He felt confused, his mind spinning with a single question. What should he do? At Outpost 7D21, amidst the brightly lit skyscrapers under the starry night sky, a long, slender hand raised a glass of red wine. A low voice rang out. In less than a day, over 10 people have already given up. The woman sitting on the sofa wearing a sexy white nightgown that revealed her perfect curves gently swirled her wine glass. Her eyes filled with contemplation, whispering, "The strength of this year's contestants is quite worrying. If no talents appear, many will see me as a joke." Suddenly, she heard a warning sound from the system interrupting her thoughts. She glanced at the screen thinking someone must have died or given up, her voice full of dissatisfaction. Again! Isn't it late at night? Can't we get some rest? Her gaze stopped on 2 red dots moving on the Hung Sao map. Is the signal sender moving that fast? She frowned, curiosity mixed with doubt. Barefoot, she stepped forward, opened the door, contemplating. Even a bronze level could not achieve this speed in the desert. Without hesitation, she walked through the door. Before her lay an endless stretch of desert. Her sharp gaze swept around, and she noticed a cloud of dust swirling from afar. A thought flashed in her mind. Could it be that the flesh-eating monster is carrying the signal? A gigantic figure charged forward at a terrifying speed, the sand behind it swirling into a whirlwind, the sound of thuds echoing. Clutching tightly, Jianyat Hang was swaying violently. Lin Huang sat on its shoulder, shouting towards her, "Help us get out of here!" The violent beast continuously let out rumbling sounds, its imposing aura. Idangu was stunned by this scene, stuttering before finally saying, "What is this?" Lin Huang and the violent beast rushed towards her at breakneck speed. He shouted urgently, "Hurry!" But Idangu was still dazed, her gaze fixed on the giant creature. She stammered, You! He glanced at the violent beast, concern evident on his face. Damn the violent beast! When both he and Idangu returned to the house at Outpost 7D21, the giant head of the violent beast just squeezed through the door. It was dizzy, its eyes wide mouth groaning and rumbling. He suddenly remembered and hurriedly shouted, "Don't forget to recall it!" Immediately, the violent beast was recalled into the summoning card. Lin Huang turned to Idangu, forcing a smile. "Sorry if I was a step late." Before he could explain, she shouted at him, "Get out of my way now!" Lin Huang felt embarrassed. His cheeks flushed, his expression slightly flustered. At that moment, he noticed their positions. He was leaning on the floor, looking past her, while Yi Dan-gu sat cross-legged on the sofa, arms crossed, her gaze serious. She spoke with suspicion. "Are you saying that before I arrived you were chased by the Amna for half an hour?" Lin Huang looked straight at Yi Dan-gu, his voice firm. "Yes, if there was a way to escape, I wouldn't have signaled for help." Beside them, Da Nhat Hang lay dazed on the floor, still not fully awake, exhaustion evident on his face. Yi Dan-gu observed him with a scrutinizing gaze, suddenly recalling the scene of the beast rushing towards them at an alarming speed. She frowned, her heart filled with doubt. A level 3 black steel beast should not be able to reach such speed. Has this black beast already mutated? Knowing he couldn't hide it, Lin Huang lowered his head and admitted, "That's right, the tyrant has never actually used the upgrade card. However, in my hands, it has already become a rare green card." He sighed softly, no longer needing to hide under her penetrating gaze. Yi Dan-gu stood up, crossed her arms, stepped in front of him, and said, "I understand regarding the ghostly matter. I will report it up. Wait until morning. There will be a decision on how to resolve it." He nodded obediently, apologizing to her, but his expression clearly showed his sorrow. His eyes were sad. In his heart, he calculated that now he could only go to another base, find a competition that hadn't started yet, and strive to complete the mission. Despite the difficulties ahead, his determination remained steadfast and unwavering. Yi Dan-gu looked at him. Her face softened a bit and said, "You speak gently. Once the 7 spirits are resolved, I will take both of you back to the starting point. You can continue with the selection." Lin Huang lowered his head and sighed, replying, "Okay." But in his heart, he couldn't help but feel distressed. If I lose the golden finger, my fate is essentially just waiting to die. Thinking that, he switched to a thick-skinned, shameless demeanor, clasped his hands, and spoke with a pitiful tone. "I assure you, I never pressed the emergency button. That's the system's fault. I have nothing to do with it." Yi Dan-gu paused, not expecting him to handle the situation so quickly. She tucked the messy strands of hair behind her ear, her movements graceful and charming. Her eyes showed a hint of surprise, but she maintained a serious expression, waiting for him to continue explaining. Yi Dan-gu looked at him. The corners of her mouth lifted in praise. "You seem quite clever. Get rid of this fat guy, find a place to rest, and wait until the crow matter is resolved. I will take both of you back to the starting point." Lin Huang froze, his eyes wide open, a bit astonished. He quickly regained his excitement, propped his hands on his thighs, his eyes sparkling with hope, and asked, "Do you mean we can really continue with the selection?" She crossed her arms, looking proud, her gaze sharp as a knife, and replied, "Why do you seem so eager to be disqualified?" Yi Dan-gu sat down gently, smoothing her hair, her movements elegant yet authoritative. Lin Huang didn't waste a second. He quickly grabbed the wild beast's leg, pulled it out, and flattered, "I don't want you to rest. I won't bother you anymore. I'll help you close the door." She sat silently in the chair, her gaze distant as if lost in thought. Suddenly her face trembled, breaking into a radiant smile as she excitedly exclaimed, "Great, this time I met a summoner with a mutated summon to see." Lin Huang was stunned, unable to hide his surprise. He looked at her while she stood next to a masked man, her pride evident. Hands on her hips, she stroked her messy hair confidently, saying, "The Hunter Association sends people who are all superior hunters extremely strong. You can't imagine. Don't think too much anymore, just focus on passing the competition and leveling up to the Black Iron stage." Yi Dan-gu walked toward the spatial door, leaving him in the desert along with a warning and a distress signal. "The compensation for the hotel room, you pay for it." He looked at her figure gradually fading in the light of the space, his expression momentarily stunned. "Is this a threat, stealing my opportunity?" Suddenly, Da Nhat Hang rushed in from somewhere, slinging his arm around him, a cunning smile on his face. "That guy named Lum asked about you. What are you two doing at the hotel?" "It sounds intense." Lin Huang quietly set his face, showing slight displeasure, decisively ordering, "Shut up or you'll handle it yourself." Da Nhat Hang, not bothering to apologize, just muttered a few words. 2 shadowy figures walked through the vast desert with towering sand dunes rising under the scorching sun. Lin Huang pondered. "Last night the crows flew from the south. The storm carried us running north for more than half an hour. The current position should be about 60 kilometers from there." He opened the notebook in his hand, glanced at the vast desert, feeling anxious. "We wasted a night. We must hurry." The sky was clear, with white clouds floating, but the scorching sun made him feel hot. Then, Sado Bao lifted the two of them onto his shoulders while Lin Huang sat firmly on one side. Dan Yat Hang struggled to climb up, complaining, "Damn it, with the sun like this, I'm about to turn into jerky." He cut in his voice, cold. "If I remember correctly, there's a supply station ahead." They stepped forward, leaving deep footprints in the sand heading straight to the only supply station in this desert. Dan Yat Hang joyfully pointed towards the house that appeared faintly in the distance, excitedly exclaiming, "There it is! Let's hurry over! It's already past the hottest part of noon!" Lin Huang, sitting beside him, listened to him but wasn't very optimistic. "Cousin, be careful, there might be others who got here first. Our enemies now are not just monsters, but also competitors." When they both arrived at the supply station, Dan Yat Hang quickly pushed the door open and stepped inside. Before him were packages of food and drinking water piled up. He shouted with joy, "Old Lum really hit the supply station. There's food and drink." Lin Huang put his hands in his pockets, his sharp gaze scanning the surroundings. He assessed, no signs of others. It should be safe. Dan Yat Hang stepped towards the pile of food, his eyes shining as he touched a yellow food crate, exclaiming like a child, "It's all my favorite stuff." For someone with a foodie soul like him, this scene was indeed paradise. Dan Yat Hang, though overwhelmed with joy, still didn't forget to share his excitement. He turned to him cheerfully, saying, "Come on, you eat a little too." Lin Huang didn't bother to look at him coldly, replying, "Just take what we need. We must follow the station's rules." Suddenly his eyes widened as if he remembered something important. "Wait a minute." He glanced at a corner of the station where personal belongings were scattered on the floor, bags, flashlights, paper-used cups, and a few other items. This sight immediately led him to conclude that someone had been here. Dan Yat Hang shrugged, thinking it was nothing unusual. "You're holding a bunch of food, explaining while saying, 'Isn't this the only station within 100 miles? It's normal for someone to come here.'" But at that moment he realized there was a serious problem. Lin Huang focused on the scattered items on the floor. A thought flashed in his mind. These things may not be valuable, but they are daily necessities. No one would just leave them behind. There's only one possibility. He looked ahead, his voice dropping. These people must have encountered something and were forced to leave. Dan Yat Hang felt a flicker of fear upon hearing this, glancing at him. "Don't scare me. There are no signs of a struggle around and no signs of danger." Before he could finish speaking, a loud roar from Bao Quan, who was guarding outside the door, suddenly echoed, signaling danger. It immediately took a fighting stance, its massive body tense and ready to confront. Dan Yat Hang was scared, clutching the pile of food tightly, stammering, "Something's happening." Lin Huang didn't say much, his tone decisive. "It's too dangerous to stay here. We need to leave now." He urged Dan Yat Hang and then commanded Bao Quan, "Immediately lift both of them onto your shoulders and dash away." A powerful growl emanated from his mouth. The sky above remained calm with white clouds floating lazily, but beneath the desert sand something was moving, chasing after them. Lin Huang stared intently, his eyes narrowed. Indeed, there was something. Dan Yat Hang, sitting next to him, glanced at him, still not realizing the abnormality, his face filled with confusion. Dan Yat Hang listened to Lin Huang, his expression panicked. Beneath the fine sand, something was chasing them at a dizzying speed. Compared to when they were being chased by the Amnya this time, was even more dangerous, with the enemy closing in relentlessly. From Bao Quan's shoulder, Lin Huang exclaimed, "So fast!" Dan Yat Hang finally realized the danger at close range. He could clearly see the instability and screamed in horror, "Bao Quan, be careful!" Bao Quan immediately reacted, turning to the side to dodge, but the mysterious creature beneath the sand still charged straight ahead. It clenched its fist into a tight ball and threw a powerful punch down to the ground. A gigantic monster emerged, resembling a snake, but with characteristics of a worm. Its mouth was a deep pit filled with sharp teeth growing evenly from the outside in. Its body rose high, causing a slight earthquake. Bao Quan staggered, trying to maintain balance so that Lin Huang and Dan Yat Hang would not be thrown off and become prey for the monster. Both of them looked up at the horrific creature, their eyes wide and mouths agape, simultaneously screaming, "Ah!" And not only did it have a mouthful of sharp, spiky teeth, but its body was also covered in sharp spines, revealing 5 terrifying rows of teeth. Lin Huang rummaged through his memory and suddenly realized, shouting, "It's the death worm, a type of mutated desert creature." A Bao Quan was no match for it. He was puzzled, furrowing his brow. Mutated creatures shouldn't appear on the safe line. Why is this monster here? With one leg grounded and the other raised, Lin Huang aimed his gun directly at the death worm, continuously firing a stream of golden light aimed at its mouth. But the monster was completely unfazed. No matter which direction Bao Quan ran, it raised its tooth-filled mouth to block the way. The two on Bao Quan's shoulders felt helpless. Lin Huang couldn't help but be astonished by its power and speed. He muttered in a desperate voice, "It's talking too fast, we can't escape now." Danyat Hong held his head, crying bitterly. He cried as if he were being swallowed and turned into minced meat. "I don't want to die." Lin Huang paused, his eyes flashing with determination. He ordered firmly, "Wait, tyrant, don't move." The tyrant seemed to understand, let out a growl, and stood still. Danyat Hang still held his head, not daring to look up at the horrifying monster. Hearing his command, he mumbled in dissatisfaction, "Don't move, just die faster." Lin Huang turned to shout softly, but immediately calmed down. "Shut up! You don't move either." When both stopped all movements, the monster also stood still. Its mouth full of sharp teeth drooling looked disgustingly enraged. He lowered his voice to explain, "It has no eyes and cannot hear. Do we have to rely on perception to hunt?" "Yes." Ya Yi Hang, still holding his head flustered, replied, "How would I know? Are you the monster expert?" "I haven't read it from the beginning." He nodded and analyzed. It splits into two sensory heads pointing in all directions to detect movement in space. Realizing this, he felt slightly relieved. "Right, as long as we stay still, it won't know where the target is and cannot attack." But the tricky problem arose. How do we move to get out of here? If we just stay still, they won't be able to escape. Suddenly, Ya Yi Hang's eyes lit up as he exclaimed, "I have a way." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a piece of dried meat. "I will use this piece of meat to lure it and then run." Without hesitation, he threw the dried meat forcefully to one side. Lin Huang panickedly followed it with his eyes, silently hoping that things wouldn't get worse. He quickly shouted, "Bantu, stay still!" But the monster with keen senses immediately sensed the movement. Its mouth full of sharp teeth turned towards Danyat Hang. He panicked. His heart seemed to stop beating. "Oh no, it's coming for me." Due to overwhelming fear, he stumbled, couldn't stand firm, and fell from the tyrant's shoulder. Dust flew everywhere, obscuring the space. Lin Huang witnessed and urgently yelled, "Bantu no notes!" In excruciating pain, Danyat Hang grimaced. His face contorted as if it were being twisted tight. He gritted his teeth, finally letting out a soft groan. The ferocious beast was just waiting for that moment. It immediately activated, turning towards him, its dark mouth wide open like an abyss, ready to swallow everything. Danyat Hang lay flat on the ground, sweat pouring continuously from his forehead. Fear felt like a cold blade invading his entire body. In panic, he screamed long, "Help! Help!" His soul sparkled like a star, but over here, not far away, Lin Huang was also engulfed in extreme anxiety. Just a moment too late, your companion will become a delicious meal for that horrible monster. In a moment of crisis, he glanced at the tyrant, his cold gaze issuing a decisive order. "Tyrant, save him!" The tyrant let out a low growl, his face hardened, ready to confront the deadly worm. Quick as lightning, it leaped a long step, rushing towards the beast. A powerful punch struck down, sending the monster reeling from the impact. Saliva splattered everywhere. From behind, Lin Huang shouted urgently, "Bantu, run fast!" The deadly worm stretched high, its gaping red mouth, preparing to attack Bao Quan, who was standing below. Danyat Hang closed his eyes tightly, tears streaming down his face, crying miserably. "Ah, I see the situation is hopeless." Lin Huang stood on Bao Quan's shoulder, waving his arms and legs to attract the monster's attention. He shouted loudly, his voice echoing, "Come here, come chase me!" The monster immediately shifted its target, charging quickly towards Bao Quan and Lin Huang, leaving Danyat Hang sitting on the ground, crying and rubbing his eyes. He choked out, Lao Lum, don't die, I can't repay your kindness." His cries mixed with his extreme worry for his friend's safety. The monster was hot on their heels, and Bao Quan realized the situation was no longer favorable. Lin Huang immediately commanded, "Bao Quan, run to that pile of sand, throw me behind." Bao Quan roared, growling. Using tremendous strength, he threw Lin Huang high into the air, landing on the high sand. In midair, Lin Huang tumbled. Bao Quan paused for a moment, seeing that he had thrown him far enough. He breathed a sigh of relief, feeling somewhat reassured, confirming Lin Huang's safety. Bao Quan immediately accelerated, rushing away like a whirlwind to distract the ferocious monster. From his hidden position above, Lin Huang looked down, his gaze slightly melancholic, tinged with self-blame. He directed his voice towards Bao Quan, his tone heavy. "Bao Quan, I'm sorry." The ferocious beast began to swirl around Bao Quan, dust and sand rising in fierce spirals as if trying to tighten around him. Lin Huang felt a sharp pain in his heart, whispering, I can only let you be bait. There are no other choices. Suddenly, the deadly worm opened its mouth from the ground, biting straight into Bao Quan, its sharp teeth sinking deep into flesh, causing blood to pour out. Bao Quan let out a miserable roar, Despite the excruciating pain, he still clung tightly to the monster's mouth, blood spewing from his mouth, mingling with his own blood. On the sidelines, Lin Huang did not hesitate. He slowly raised the monster card, his eyes sharp, activating the retrieval skill. The figure of Bao Quan gradually faded, returning inside the card. He smirked, a proud smile on his face. As a true beastmaster, I cannot let the precious monster sacrifice itself. Immediately after, Bao Quan reappeared behind him, 1 foot steady, the other like a shadow, its momentum undiminished. Lin Huang put his hands in his pockets, standing tall, issuing a decisive command. Let's go. He and Bao Quan strode forward, leaving the monster far behind. A smug smile blossomed on his lips as he turned to the tyrant. Let's go fetch Banzi. Lin Huang looked toward the vast desert empty of any person and called out, Banzi, but only the sound of the wind replied. He helplessly muttered, Where did that guy run off to? Then he rubbed his head to reassure himself. Maybe we'll meet him ahead. Let's get going. But deep down, he knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. They had faced quite a few attacks along the route arranged by the Hunter Association. There shouldn't be this many monsters. Remembering the recent battles, Lin Huang frowned slightly, an uneasy feeling rising within him. Things are not as simple as I thought. After a while, the 3 of them finally gathered before them. The goddess of wind appeared as a towering mountain, emanating danger as if challenging anyone daring to set foot there. Lin Huang looked up at the snow-covered mountain, sighed softly, then turned to Bai. Your body is too massive, not suitable for climbing snowy mountains, he ordered firmly, his voice steady. You will come with me and assist me in climbing up. The 2 began their journey to conquer the mountain peak. Bai led the way, a sturdy rope tied around him, the other end connected to Lin Huang, who was following behind. Sweat beaded on his forehead as Lin Huang climbed, breathing heavily. If I hadn't upgraded my endurance skills before, I would probably be exhausted by now. No sooner had he finished speaking than his foot suddenly slipped off the rock face, his body losing balance and plunging straight down into the abyss. In a panic, he reached out and shouted, Bai! Bai immediately sensed the danger, quickly grabbing the rope, connecting the 2, pulling Lin Huang back up slowly, regaining his balance. When his heartbeat stabilized, he sighed in relief, murmuring, You scared me to death. But just a moment later, the situation changed. Lin Huang's face turned bright red with embarrassment. He yelled, struggling, Put me down! He pushed Bai, who was carrying him, then continued, No need to carry me, I can climb by myself. Bai, upon hearing this, looked at him with a hint of confusion. Lin Huang thought to himself, I must maintain some dignity as a man. Night fell, and the 2 stopped at a flat area, lit a campfire, and set up a tent. Lin Huang sat by the fire, saying, It's dark now, let's spend the night here. As he cooked, he murmured, Banzi's leftover dried meat is quite a bit, but I wonder where that guy ran off to. A trace of sadness flashed in his eyes. Holding the piece of dried meat, he sighed, Please don't die. I still want to taste your skills. Lin Huang suddenly remembered Bai. He turned to ask Bai if he wanted some, but before he could finish his sentence, Bai jumped down the cliff, startling Lin Huang. What is it? After a while, Bai returned, cradling a snowball beast in his arms, which was crying and looking both adorable and pitiful. Lin Huang's eyes lit up. Is this a snowball beast? I've heard that this species does not harm people and is extremely cute, but they are so rare that their value is comparable to bronze equipment on the market. Looking at the snowball beast's pitiful face, Lin Huang smiled and gently asked, Did you run up to me because you were hungry? Smelled the delicious scent of meat, didn't you? The little beast let out a few strange sounds as if nodding in agreement. Seeing this, he didn't hesitate to lift it up, feeding it a piece of fragrant dried meat, his voice gently coaxing, Here you go. The snowball beast devoured it happily, making Lin Huang's mood even more uplifted. He almost exclaimed, This little one is so cute, no wonder the girls are crazy about it. Then he turned to Bai, smiling and saying, Bai, don't be tense, it won't attack. Lousy was having fun like that, but immediately after Lin Huang was stunned to see the snowball beast dump a whole pile of remaining food into its mouth. Both could only stand there helplessly. Lin Huang regretfully murmured, It really can eat, but it's eating Lousy's dinner too. He stepped closer, rubbing the soft head of the beast, laughing while saying, "Full now, let's go home, I have no more food." The snowball beast let out a few cries, looking reluctant, then suddenly hugged his pants tightly, making cooing sounds. Lin Huang looked at it and suddenly realized something, murmuring, "Wait a minute. It seems like it wants to take us somewhere." Seeing he understood, the little beast joyfully nodded vigorously. In a flash, the snowball beast dashed ahead to lead the way. Lin Huang and Bai hurriedly ran after it. Snow began to fall lightly around them. While running, Lin Huang said, "How leisurely, Bai, let's go take a look." After a while, the snowball beast suddenly jumped towards an icy cave. Lin Huang was exhausted, panting and calling, "Wait, follow me!" He saw the adorable beast preparing to squeeze into an ice wall. He panicked and stopped it, cautiously warning jumping in could get hurt. But just as the words left his mouth, the snowball beast had already passed through the ice wall and disappeared. Lin Huang stepped forward in astonishment, touching the wall. Surprisingly, his arm easily passed through. He murmured, his eyes lighting up. So it turns out this ice wall is just an illusion. There must be something else behind it. Lin Huang turned to Bai, speaking decisively. "Let's go, we need to check it out." Both quickly passed through the magical wall. As soon as they stepped through, a wave of icy cold air rushed in, making Lin Huang shiver slightly and murmur, "It's as cold as jumping into ice." He was busy observing the surroundings when suddenly a strong gust of wind hit, forcing him to squint. Reflexively, when he opened his eyes, Lin Huang was stunned and asked, "Where is this place?" In front of them was an endless expanse of white snow wilderness. He hurriedly scanned for Bai, but couldn't find him anywhere. Suddenly, a voice rang out, capturing all attention. "Don't look anymore. Only those chosen can enter here. No monster can pass." Lin Huang bent down, astonished, looking at the tiny snowball beast on the ground, exclaiming, "Is it you talking?" The snowball beast coldly replied, "Do you have a problem with that?" He immediately responded, his voice hesitant, "Not just that your voice is strong, it sounds a bit strange." Seeing him flustered, the little beast unexpectedly transformed. A snow whirlpool swirled in front of Lin Huang. The snow dust cleared to reveal a giant figure like a moving ice mountain. He stammered, unable to speak, "A giant ice snow person." In his heart, he thought, the giant ice and snow creature, a monster born of ice and snow, possesses superior strength and is a natural-born warrior. This creature has even matured. If it has hostile intentions, I could die in an instant. The Ice King, his face clearly showing worry, had his words stuck in his throat. Seeing him flustered, the Ice King spoke gently, "Don't be tense. I have no hostile intentions." Lin Huang was even more confused, stammering, "Can you read thoughts?" Without answering, the Ice King continued, his voice steady. "Human teenager, I brought you here with no malice at all. I just want to ask you for a favor, Lin Huang." Lin Huang, not believing his ears, hurriedly asked again, "Do you have something you need my help with?" Before the Ice King could respond, he continued to press, "What do you want me to help with?" He saw the Ice King lightly wave his hand, a chilling wind swirling around Lin Huang. In the blink of an eye, he was standing firmly in the giant palm of the Ice King. The Ice King, in a gentle, warm voice, said, "Come closer to me." Lin Huang sat snugly in the palm of the Ice King, unwittingly mumbling like a little old man, "I will tell you a story. You must listen patiently." He could only sigh helplessly. "Is that so? I have to listen even if I don't want to, right?" Without waiting for him to protest, the Ice King began to tell, his voice low and sad, like the wind blowing through the canyon. "A long, long time ago, when I was young, I had a master. She was the warmest existence in this world. All my sweet memories are tied to her." Lin Huang, hearing this, exclaimed in surprise, "No way you were a pet of someone, you—" The Ice King's expression darkened slightly, his voice lowering. "She was not human." It continued, its gaze distant. "After I evolved, I learned the truth. She loved humans, enjoyed living close to them, so she concealed her true identity to blend into their world. Therefore, she left me on this snow mountain. Even though I felt lonely, I was still willing, only hoping for her happiness." The Ice King paused, the image of the girl beside a boy appearing in its mind, causing it to sigh. "Later, she fell in love with a mortal. She gave up everything to be with that person. Since then, I never saw her again." Suddenly, its voice trembled as if painful memories surged back. "But one day she returned. I was overjoyed rushing to meet her, but she was no longer the joyful girl I once knew. She had a sorrowful expression, her body covered in wounds, nearly dead." The Ice King remembered the painful scene from its childhood, having cried bitterly at that image. It continued, its voice choked. That boy discovered she was not human, so he called hunters to kill her. In the battle, the boy was severely injured, close to death. To save the one she loved, she ripped out her own heart. She lay down so that the boy could continue to live while she only had the path of death. After hearing the story, Lin Huang sighed, his voice contemplative. Stories that start like this rarely have beautiful endings. He looked up at the Ice King and asked, "And then what happened?" The Ice King leaned down, his voice deep like wind blowing through a crack in the rock, saying, "I followed her last words, burying her at the bottom of the ice lake." He leaned close to Lin Huang, whispering, "Since then this valley has been frozen forever with no 4 seasons." As expected, Lin Huang interrupted, frowning and asking, "Your master has been dead for a long time, so why are you looking for me?" The Ice King gazed far away, where there was nothing but a blanket of white snow, and replied, "She once said that one day someone destined would change this ice lake, but at that time she would be resurrected, and this valley would also be reborn." Upon hearing this, Lin Huang's eyes widened in astonishment. "You mean I am that destined person?" The Ice King, without any hesitation, raised 3 fingers and said, "Before you, there were 3 others, but all failed." Lin Huang's expression darkened significantly, and he mumbled but couldn't voice it. "Really?" But then he regained his composure and said, "Is it just anyone who comes to this snowy mountain that gets pulled in to try?" The Ice King explained patiently, "The peak of the female mountain has been perilous for thousands of years. Only a few have made it here, and I also select based on character. Including you, there have only been 4 people." Lin Huang sighed in resignation. "All right, what should I do now?" The Ice King gently lowered him to the ground near the edge of the ice lake, then said, "Just 1 drop of your blood. Whether you succeed or fail, I will take you out safely, but if you fail, I will erase the memory of this meeting." Lin Huang immediately questioned, his voice filled with doubt. "Is it that simple?" No waiting." He bit the tip of his finger to let blood drop down while saying, "If that's the case, let me give it a try." The bright red drops fell onto the ice lake, and in his heart he thought, "The young girl betrayed. If I could, I hope to help her." Both watched tensely, eyes not leaving the surface of the lake. Lin Huang asked, "What happens next?" The Ice King quietly observed and replied, "Just wait and see." The 2 sat huddled in the freezing snow. Lin Huang's head was covered in snow as if he were wearing a white hat. He stood up, sighed, and sincerely apologized. "It seems I can't help anymore." Just as Lin Huang finished speaking, crackling sounds echoed repeatedly. Both were stunned and then burst into joyful laughter. "It's a success. The ice has melted." Where the ice melted, the grass and trees sprouted vibrant green. The surface of the lake gradually became clear again, sparkling like a mirror. The Ice King could not hide his amazement. Not only was the ice melting, but the grass and trees were also coming back to life. Lin Huang still had a look of surprise mixed with seriousness. His eyes wide as he exclaimed, "Oh my God, is my blood that nourishing?" At this moment, the Ice King had returned to the form of a small pet with sparkling eyes, continuously calling, "Master, my master." As if responding to his expectations, a beautiful girl floated gently up from under the water. The Ice King exclaimed emotionally, "Master!" In front of them was a girl with white hair wearing a pure light blue dress, as if woven from ice and snow, gliding lightly over the surface of the lake. Lin Huang was dazed, his face flushed, thinking to himself, "So beautiful." Before long, the girl approached, her feet gliding over the water as gently as clouds. She looked at the Ice King and gently asked, "Ice King, you've been doing well since I left, right?" Then she lightly touched its nose and smiled, "Still always protecting me, huh? Thank you." The Ice King immediately knelt down and respectfully replied, "My lord, please don't be polite. Protecting you is my duty." The girl turned to Lin Huang, her voice as clear as a stream. "My name is Tuyet Lak, a fated person. Thank you." Lin Huang awkwardly scratched his head, embarrassed. "It's nothing. Just call me Lin Huang." He gathered his courage to ask, "May I ask, are you a monster?" Hearing this, the Ice King next to him couldn't contain his anger, growling, "That's too disrespectful." But contrary to its fury, Tuyet Lak still gently replied, "No, I am of the divine race." The 2 words, divine race, made Lin Huang astonished, his eyes lighting up. The divine race. 800 years ago, the ones who opened the 3,000 void dongs were your kin, right? At this point, Tuyet Lak's expression turned slightly cold, her voice deeper. "Those who claim to be of the divine race are powerful, but they are not recognized as the divine race. At most, they are just servants of the gods who were granted a bit of bloodline. Lin Huang nodded as if he understood. Seeing the concern on his face, Tuet Lok smiled and continued, "Don't you believe it? The true power of the divine race is beyond your imagination." Tuet Lok smiled generously. "Let me show you." As soon as she finished speaking, a massive surge of power rushed toward Lin Huang, deeply penetrating his body. Immediately, he felt a miraculous change inside him like a warm current rising. He was secretly pleased the fate discussion that had been broken was now restored. Seeing his cheerful expression, Tuet Lok frowned slightly and said in disappointment, "Your fate discussion has a problem. I have helped you fix it." Lin Huang still looked astonished, glancing around to check, murmuring, "It's hard to believe, is this the power of the divine race?" Tuet Lok smiled gently. "It's not just that. To thank you, I will also give you a second chance along with a big gift." Before he could react, a terrifying surge of power several times greater than before descended from the sky, enveloping Lin Huang. He suddenly shouted a few times as a voice rang in his head, "The player has activated the Sage mode. The system is operating automatically. Congratulations to the player for receiving the complete epic fire drill." Lin Huang gritted his teeth, unable to believe what had just happened, stammering, "What?" Tuet Lok covered her mouth and chuckled. "Sir, although you are an ordinary person, you do have some things that are not like ordinary people, right?" Lin Huang felt a little uneasy, thinking to himself, "The strength of the divine race is indeed formidable. No wonder Xiao Hawk has gone missing." He sat comfortably in the palm of the Ice King, while Tuet Lok gently sat on its shoulder. She looked at him, her voice gentle. "We will escort you out of here. Be careful on your way ahead. I will repay the favor of saving my life later." Lin Huang quickly waved his hand, embarrassed. "No need, you giving me such a big gift is enough." Before long, they had made it outside. Lin Huang jumped to the ground, turning back to look at the girl. Tuet Lok continued, "After you leave, we will also be leaving here." She answered in a soft but firm voice, "Of course we will return to our world." Lin Huang felt a bit regretful, thinking that there would be no chance to meet again. Not letting him be sad for long, Tuet Lok smiled and said, "Sir, take care. If we stay on Snow Mountain too long, we may encounter many attacking monsters." Lin Huang sighed, thinking to himself that the hunting selection competition had prepared a safe route, yet he kept encountering high-level monsters. Tuet Lok warned in a serious tone, "Not far from the desert, there is a high-level monster that has evolved. It has the ability to instill fear in the mind, making the surrounding monsters easy prey for it. Therefore, this place is no longer safe. You should leave immediately." Lin Huang's face showed slight concern as he mumbled, "So that's it." No wonder he hurried to say goodbye to the two of them. Bang Voon called out, "Follow me. We hope to meet again." Lin Huang turned back and smiled. "I hope to meet you two again. Take care." He hesitated and whispered just enough for himself to hear, "I hope we can meet again." Snow continued to fall lightly, and the space around him gradually became hazy. Lin Huang stepped out of the ice wall, shivering from the cold side. It's still so cold even after coming outside. Huh? Is it already morning? His heart suddenly skipped a beat when he saw Bok standing still like a statue covered in a thick layer of snow. He shouted, "Bok, you didn't stand here all night, did you?" Sorry, both quickly regained their composure. Lin Huang walked ahead, rubbing his arms to warm up while speaking to Bok behind him. "What happened is hard to explain, but now I'm full of energy, not sleepy at all. No need to rest, let's continue on our way." Bok could only look at him helplessly. Soon they continued climbing the cliff, one in front and one behind. Lin Huang climbed steadily, showing clear progress. He smiled and said to Bok, "Restoring my life wheel, I feel much better. I'm starting to ascend to the Black Stone Realm to see how it goes." After a while, the two stopped to rest on a flat rock ledge. Lin Huang panted excitedly. "We're almost at the peak as long as nothing unexpected happens." Just then, the competition ended and suddenly eerie sounds echoed from afar. Both immediately became alert, straining their eyes towards the sound. A flock of pure white geese, one by one, slowly appeared in the mist. Looking at the gentle appearance of the geese, Lin Huang couldn't help but exclaim, "There are such large geese on the snow mountain." He glanced at Bok and saw him looking skeptical, then laughed and said, "Don't be so tense. This one looks fierce but tastes great. How about we catch a few?" Before he finished speaking, Lin Huang suddenly realized something unusual. The flock of geese that had seemed harmless now suddenly opened their mouths to reveal sharp teeth and long tongues as if they wanted to swallow their opponents. Eerie sounds erupted from their throats. Lin Huang shouted, "Not geese, it's a monster!" Bok both immediately ran away. Lin Huang's face turned pale. Looking back at the flock of geese, he muttered, "Up close, they look even bigger." Bok run fast. Bok led the way, determined to climb the cliff, while Lin Huang followed closely behind, running, while shooting back at the monster geese. He panted, mumbling, "There are too many, I can't fight them off." Bok quickly found a place to hide. Luckily, they discovered a cave right in front of them. B exerted all his strength to pull Lin Huang quickly into the cave. Just as they entered the cave, Lin Huang sighed with relief and looked around. "It's beautiful here. Let's hide for now and wait until they leave." But when he looked outside, both were stunned. The flock of geese was in a panic, flying chaotically as if they had encountered a disaster. Lin Huang was bewildered. "What is happening?" As soon as he finished speaking, a giant black sparrow tore through the defense of the flock of geese, causing them to flee in terror. The ferocious sparrow, with its speed slicing through the wind, easily injured the geese. Lin Huang observed his face drained of blood, muttering, "The black cliff sparrow or the giant black sparrow is likely at the bronze stage." But immediately after he changed his tone to one of excitement as he looked at Bai. "Good, I was just worried about being swallowed by the geese. Now with it around, we are saved." Just as he finished speaking, the black cliff sparrow appeared at the entrance of the cave, its eyes flashing with thousands of fierce rays, as if it wanted to pounce and tear them apart. Lin Huang felt anxious and whispered, "We're done for." The black sparrow circled around and then forcefully kicked at the cave entrance. The impact shook the earth, causing debris to fall. Lin Huang angrily shouted, his eyes blazing, "Damn it, it's targeting me! Are you sick?" The fire from the collision of the black cliff sparrow gradually spread into the cave. He turned to Bai, his voice firm. "No, you are not a match for it. Don't go out and sacrifice yourself." After saying that, he aimed his gun straight at the monster, continuously cursing, "I'm just one step away from crossing the snowy mountain, don't ruin it." The bullet flew towards the black cliff sparrow, but as soon as it touched its feathers, it was immediately bounced back. Lin Huang gritted his teeth. "This bullet can't pierce it." The black cliff sparrow screeched angrily, its cry mocking as flames began to engulf the two, making Lin Huang worryingly exclaim, "Is this really the end?" The black sparrow continued to attack the cave entrance, trying to force its way in to catch them. He turned to Bai, his voice low but resolute. "I have a way to deal with it. Follow my lead." After a moment of discussion, both charged outside, facing the fierce monster. Seeing the two unafraid, the black cliff sparrow was momentarily taken aback. Lin Huang raised his gun, his gaze icy. "Even if you have a body of metal and iron, you still have weaknesses, you damn beast." The gun's barrel was pressed close to its eyes. A shrill cry rang out. Blood spurted. The black sparrow collapsed slowly, fading away. The two sat at the entrance of the cave, watching the monster gradually disappear. Lin Huang sighed with relief, saying as if bidding farewell, "3 explosive bullets, all for you." Just then, the system suddenly flashed a notification. "Congratulations, player, you have received the Black Cliff Sparrow Monster card. You completed a level-up attack and received double cards." Lin Huang widened his eyes in surprise. "You kill a high-level monster and don't get a card." He continued to ask, his voice frustrated, "How many cards do I need for a level-up to be sufficient?" "I directly upgraded Bai and the Berserker to mythic level," Little Black replied with a slight frown. "The card draw is random. Previously, the 2 upgraded attacks were just luck. The actual ability of the summoning card is limited by the player. Players aren't stronger no matter how rare the card is. The power has its limits." Lin Huang sighed helplessly. "All right, you can stop talking." He bent down to read the card's content carefully. "Double after using the card within 1 hour. All rewards after attacking will be doubled." After pondering for a while, he muttered, "This card is just ordinary." Xiao He replied slyly, "Wait until you meet the right monster. Using this card will quickly gather enough summoning fragments." Then it mused, "I didn't expect you to be so unlucky." Lin Huang waved his hand dismissively. "If there's nothing, then go away. I'm busy dealing with you." He slammed his hand on his thigh, stood up straight, and turned to Bai. "We've wasted half a day. Hurry up, get to the peak, or it will be too late." Both continued to climb the cliff. Lin Huang held onto Bai's arm, tightly climbing while saying, "After the competition ends, I still have to gather ammunition. Need a few more explosive rounds." Looking out into the distance, he suddenly panicked. "Oh my, it's so high. Crouching to avoid the wind, he murmured, "Climbing up is not easy. Time is running out. If we go down the mountain, the competition will be over. What should we do?" Suddenly, a cold voice rang out from behind. "So if you aren't qualified, you should have given up from the start." Lin Huang turned around to look in the direction of the voice. A slender young man with striking blue hair stood there against the white snow, his gaze sharp. He thought to himself, "Neither Bai nor I sensed his presence. Who is this person?" The young man stepped forward and said, "Don't yell. I heard you." He stepped closer, his tone calm. "I am also like you, a contestant." Lin Huang forced a smile and replied, "Nice to meet you." The young man continued to ask, "Did you kill the Black Yantuo earlier?" Lin Huang, both surprised and angry, retorted, "You are also a contestant. Why did you attack me?" The cold guy replied, "I just let them go to find food. You were just unlucky." As soon as he finished speaking, he called out a crimson blood eagle, fierce and threatening, "You killed the Black Night Sparrow, which angered me. We will settle this debt." The killing intent erupted, enveloping the entire space. Lin Huang was not afraid at all, his eyes blazing. "Want to fight? I'm not scared either." Bai Yan spoke boldly, but Lin Huang secretly thought with much anxiety. A bronze-level crimson blood eagle. If it comes to a real fight, I wouldn't be his opponent. What should I do? Bai Yan stood proudly on the back of the crimson blood eagle, looking down coldly, and said, "I will take revenge for the killing of the Black Night Sparrow, but not now." He smirked and taunted, "Raising a bloodthirsty beast is fine, but you are too weak, not qualified for me to take action." After saying that, he and his pets soared away, leaving his voice echoing in the space. "Moreover, will you even survive to get out of here?" "Just wait!" Lin Huang angrily shouted after him. "What are you to Xiaohei?" The anger burned like fire all over him. He continued to yell, even though Bai Yan's figure had long disappeared. "Stop underestimating others. If you're capable, fight me openly." Suddenly, he seemed to realize something. His eyes brightened. "Wait, I have a way to get down the mountain quickly," he said, then wrapped the chain tightly around Bok, who stood still looking helpless, letting Lin Huang do as he pleased. He laughed loudly. "Though your wings can't fly, there are still other ways to use them." Then he tied the rope around Bok, holding onto it so that he could fly down the mountain. Lin Huang's laughter echoed throughout the space. "I wanted to play this game before, didn't expect this dream to come true in this strange world." He exclaimed excitedly, "Now I understand why people always want to fly to the sky. This feeling is amazing." Before long, the two arrived at the 7D121 base. Lin Huang sighed. "What a pity we just got here." He signaled Bai to slowly lower the rope down, then praised, "Bai, you did great." Just then, Yi Ya-Yu's voice rang out. "I didn't expect you to be the first to finish." She approached her smile radiant. "Congratulations, you have passed the selection. After completing the competition, you can officially register as a reserve hunter." Lin Huang's eyes widened in surprise. "I'm the first? No way!" Before he could finish, he was taken aback by Yi Ya-Yu's serious expression. She snorted coldly. "Do you dare to doubt me, you bold little brat?" Lin Huang broke out in a cold sweat, hurriedly waved his hand. "That's not it. I just saw a tall young man who seemed to be in a hurry looking for someone. His face was like someone who owed him money." He suddenly remembered and continued. "That's right. He had a crimson blood beast." Iyayu replied calmly. "That was Bai Nam." "He doesn't count," Lin Huang asked in surprise. "Bai Nam, isn't he a contestant?" Yi Dan-gu explained. "That's right, but he is different from you guys. Bok Nyum is a guest and doesn't need to participate in this competition. He volunteered to join. After the competition ends, he will directly become a bronze hunter." Lin Huang thought to himself, "So he will directly become a bronze hunter." Just then, the system announced, "Current credit account balance is 35,000. Lin Huang was overjoyed, his eyes shining brightly, almost in tears. Earlier, it looked like a shred of life was about to run out unexpectedly, turning into more than 3 million. The dream of a lifetime finally came true. He recalled Yi Dan-gu's words, "After the selection ends, you can officially register to stay at the base for a few days." Lin Huang thought to himself, "Take this opportunity to upgrade equipment, practice fighting monsters, and hone skills." Yes, a moment later, he found himself in front of the weapon shop. The shop owner said apologetically, "Young master, you need explosive bullets for the Hoyung 17. Unfortunately, we don't have that. It's very expensive. You might try Lao Trung's shop in the western city. If he doesn't have it either, then no one around here for 100 miles sells it." Lin Huang sighed, stepped outside, muttering as he walked. The 7121 base is bigger than where I live, yet they don't have any rare equipment. It seems I really have to find Lao Trung this way. In a small alley, Lin Huang stood in front of the old Van Duan shop, pondering for a long time, finally finding a shop in such an alley. Old man Zhang is quite interesting. He pushed the door open and said, "Boss, I want to buy something." An old man with a wrinkled face glared at him and said, "What do you want? Just pick it out and pay." Lin Huang scanned the shop and thought to himself, "From black iron to gold, there's everything here, all limited editions at exorbitant prices. This old man Zhang is not an ordinary type." He asked loudly, "Boss, I want to buy specialized ammunition for the Hoi Ong 17 and explosive armor-piercing rounds. Do you have enough?" Old man Zhang, with a grim face, bluntly replied, "How many do you need?" Lin Huang smiled brightly, looking directly at the old man. 3,000 rounds of specialized ammunition for the Hoi Ong and 3,000 explosive armor-piercing rounds as well. The old man glanced at him with a mocking tone. So it turns out to be a young master with money buying so much to go on a killing spree. He chuckled, waving his hand. The boss was just joking. Lao Trung placed a large box in front of him, opened it, and said, "A total of 168,000 credit points for 1x0. Lin Huang looked at the pile of goods, nodding decisively. "All right, is there more stock available? I will need to buy more ammunition later." The old man replied coldly, "Quantity is not an issue as long as you have money. I have any treasure you need." Lin Huang thought to himself, "Good, I will definitely stop by here when I need something." He continued, thinking, his eyes gleaming, not expecting this stronghold to hide such a place. Suddenly, Lao Trung, a series of rapid bells rang out. Lin Huang was startled. "What is that sound?" Old man Zhang's expression darkened. "The Hunters Association is ringing the alarm. Something big must have happened." Lin Huang hurriedly left, only able to turn back and say, "See you later, boss. I will definitely return." Old man Zhang pondered, not bothered to respond. Outside, the scene was chaotic. Everyone was pushing and shoving each other. Lin Huang struggled to weave through the crowd. Iyayu's voice rang out, overpowering the noise. "The selection competition has not ended, but an incident has occurred. High-level monsters in the Red Mi Desert have awakened. It possesses mind-disturbing abilities, leading other monsters to run wild. Many contestants have been trapped. Our forces are limited, and we cannot assist all distress signals. I request everyone to stay put, and rescue points do not go outside until the ban is lifted." Lin Huang thought to himself, it really is the Snow-Lack monster mentioned. Indeed, something has happened. Around him, the crowd was abuzz. One person shouted angrily, "If you don't let us go, how can we just sit here and wait to die?" Lin Huang looked at Iyayu, thinking to himself, trying to act chivalrous. There's some courage there. Iyayu. Her expression, as cold as ice, glanced towards the source of the sound with a sharp tone. "Those rampaging monsters, whether in the air or on the ground, will all be in danger. I am not letting you go outside just to save your lives instead of running out to become prey for the monsters." She paused for a moment, her gaze sweeping over the crowd, coldly adding one more sentence. "Who wants to die first?" The surrounding space immediately fell silent. Lin Huang thought to himself that he had known from the beginning that she was not easy to deal with. Iyayu continued, her tone softening a bit. "Don't worry, the Hunters Association has sent a senior hunter to deal with it. As long as the leader is eliminated, the monsters will disperse. Tonight the danger will be extinguished." Suddenly a voice rang out from behind. "It's not that simple." Lin Huang turned around to find it was Bai Nam. He said seriously, "If the senior hunters fail, there won't be time to send others. At that time, this entire area will face a fierce attack." After saying that, Bai Nam turned and walked quickly without looking back, continuing, "I won't stay here to die stupidly." Yi Ya-yu heard this and coldly said, "Disperse. If there's nothing going on, don't act recklessly. Tomorrow, after we resolve this, we will activate the emergency plan and proceed with the registration." Lin Huang pondered, thinking to himself that although he didn't like him, Bai Nam made a valid point. He hurriedly ran after Yi Ya-yu, calling out, "Senior." She turned back and asked, "Is that you?" Lin Huang anxiously said, "I heard that some contestants are trapped. I wonder if my friend is among them." Yi Ya-yu replied, her tone still cold. "Before you reached the finish line, he sent a distress signal and withdrew safely." Lin Huang laughed to the point of tears, muttering, "This kid is really afraid of dying." Before he could say more, Yi Ya-yu turned her back and ordered, "Quickly go back to your room, don't wander around." Hearing the command, Lin Huang hurriedly replied, "Understood." The atmosphere around was thick with the scent of battle, and the sounds of explosions echoed everywhere, making him increasingly uneasy. Lin Huang sat by the window, his gaze fixed on the chaotic scene outside, silently marveling, "Super hunters facing super monsters, this situation is indeed magnificent." But then he grew solemn, worried. Everyone's hope of survival is placed on these lone hunters. What if something goes wrong? The next morning it rained heavily and the sky was dark as if it were the end of the world. Lin Huang had fallen asleep on the windowsill since last night. He jolted awake when the loud noises started again. Looking outside, he panicked. Something has happened. Why is there an alarm ringing again? He quickly opened his room door, and the first thing he saw was the scene of crowds rushing back and forth. The noise was unceasing. What should we do? Quickly go find Lord Yi, contact the headquarters. There's no backup plan. Without thinking, Lin Huang grabbed a boy and anxiously asked, "What happened?" The boy replied, panicking, "Something big has happened. Hurry to the assembly hall." Lin Huang was in shock. The information he just heard was exactly what he feared the most. The super hunters have sacrificed. In the assembly hall, the atmosphere was suffocating with shouts echoing everywhere. The super hunters sent out could not resolve the situation they sacrificed, and the monsters are still here. The situation is out of control. One person took the opportunity to shout, "We should leave quickly or we will all die." Lin Huang quietly observed, his heart heavy. Yi Ya-yu, with an angry expression, resolutely spoke, "The extraordinary monsters have been severely injured. To heal, they will definitely mobilize more monsters to attack. The human stronghold is the mission of the hunters. Our task now is to protect the stronghold with over 100,000 civilians here." The crowd below buzzed clearly, showing signs of confusion. "We haven't registered yet. Why should we die together with the hunters? Let us go. I don't want to die here." Others took the opportunity to chime in. "That's right, seriously speaking, we are still not hunters. We are just ordinary citizens. We need to be protected or at least be able to run away." One person shouted, "I can run away!" Under the cold light, Lin Huang spoke in a sharp voice, causing those around him to shiver involuntarily, hearing each word clearly. The one gritting his teeth asked again, "What did you say?" Without any hesitation, Lin Huang replied, his voice resonating with determination. "In the past, I was in the Crimson Gold Desert facing a flock of shadow crows ambushed by the Ruin Master in the snowy mountains. I survived being eaten by the flesh-eating geese. They are all extraordinary monsters. As long as I can escape, there is a chance to survive." "So what are you guys relying on to be so confident?" His words made several people nod in agreement. A voice from the crowd spoke thoughtfully. "It's true, even the hawks don't dare to fly. Walking is even easier to get killed." Lin Huang turned to Yi Dan-gu, his gaze sharp. "Senior Y Dan-gu, you are the highest-level golden hunter at this outpost. If I told you to leave this place now, how long could you hold out?" Yi Dan-gu hesitated for a moment, her voice revealing anxiety. "The monsters from the Crimson Golden Desert and the Divine Maiden Mountain are probably heading here. I'm afraid the longest I could hold out is until tomorrow night." Lin Huang clenched his fists, his eyes resolute. "If it were me at most, I could last 3 hours. What about you guys?" Lin Huang still had a stubborn person speaking up, but if lucky, he didn't let them finish. Lin Huang jumped up, landing right in the middle of the crowd, his voice loudly interrupting, "As golden hunters, if we can't escape, leaving alone is just seeking death, isn't it?" He landed steadily, pointing directly at the crowd in front of him. "If you abandon everything here to run away when the monsters come, what you leave behind are your loved ones, friends, those you cherish the most." His words were like a cold splash of water on the crowd, causing everyone to fall into a deep, contemplative silence. Taking advantage of that moment, Lin Huang continued, his voice full of persuasion. "Life is precious, but it should not be wasted on fleeing. We should unite with the Hunter Association, form a team to defeat the monsters, and protect the Snow Mountain outpost." The crowd seemed to awaken morale, rising, chanting in unison, "Protect our families! Protect the outpost!" But amid the fervent atmosphere, Bok Nam's cold voice pierced through the foolish excitement. He muttered as he stepped outside, "A bunch of fools seeking death."